diffuse.
I guess that.
All right, we're back. We're back. Back. And it's good to be back. I've been doing a bit of work off stream, but I haven't been kind of also doing, wanting to stream. There's a giant moth attacking me right now. But anyway, we are here again. We're working on some cat animations. I decided I wanted to draw a new Celine animation, and I decided to use my own real life cat as a reference. And bonus points to who can name which of my cats I have used as a reference. Even more bonus points if you can determine just based off this silhouette. Oh no, is my chat gonna disappear every time I was thinking of just slapping this on top here to make it easier on myself. But then it disappears every time I click on Krita. Is there like a keep it all on, keep chat on top mode? Maybe that's somewhere in my settings. Oh boy. Well, anyway, hope everyone's doing good. It's just gonna be a chill, boring stream. I'm gonna be drawing a lot of frames of this cat. Right now, I'm drawing this animation on 3s. If you are into animation or film stuff, you know what that means. It's every 3 frames. If we're doing 24 frames a second, and it's decent. I'll probably keep it at that frame rate, but it's possible I might even go fewer frames per second in some places, in order to adjust the animation and the movement. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just drawing out a silhouette for these frames that I captured. I just took a little video of my cat doing a paw lick, and then I imported that video, but then I cut out every 3 frames, or I only kept 1/3 of the frames basically. But here's the full 24 frames a second, like this. Which I hope it comes across on the stream. But that's right. That's all right there. That. So yeah, I basically simplified that by taking out 2/3 of the frames, just keeping every 3rd frame. And that reminds me more of kind of old choppy home movies, video cameras, those 8mm ones. But it still gets it across. It still is. If I go off of it too literally, it's gonna have that rotoscoped animation look. And what I'm hoping I can do is adjust the timing a little bit, and also do a little squashing and stretching to the end product to make it look a little more cartoony. So that it's not, I don't really quite want to go for the complete rotoscope look, but I do want to capture this little movement they do when they're just licking their paw and then kind of rubbing it on the side of their mouth while they do it. Yeah, yeah. So that's our project for tonight. And so I'm going to throw on the old Potty Podcast. Figure out how to keep this window on top. I feel like there's like, oh yeah, always on top. There's a little check mark. Now, okay, perfect. So the chat stays there in case anyone comes in and wants to chat. I'll be able to see it without having to look up at my other monitor. All right, so we're going to listen to episode 937. Why don't I just throw a little text up here? Ledge fight ep 937. And hopefully we'll get visited by some cats. Oh, I think I see Don Gato. Ready? Come on, buddy. There he is. I made the bed up for you. Ooh. All right. He made a quick appearance. So let's get down to this podcasto.
My wife
used to do that as a kid.
I love you.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Knowledge Right. I'm Dan.
I'm Jordan.
We're a couple dudes like to sit around, worship at the altar of Celine, and talk a little bit about Alex Jones.
Oh, indeed we are, Dan.
Jordan.
Dan, quick question for you, buddy.
What's up?
What's your bright spot today?
Why don't you go first?
Sun tea.
Okay.
Sun tea is my bright spot.
You talking about putting a picture out?
I'm talking about putting a picture out with a bunch of tea bags in it,
Hell
and
yeah.
then the sun does the stuff, and then you bring the tea in, and then you got tea.
Sure.
Right? My wife
used to do that as a kid all the time.
used to do it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't done it for 20 years, right? My wife just one day out of nowhere is just like, I got this jug. I'm going to make some sun tea, and it's amazing.
Sure.
It's great.
It's strange.
Yeah.
It seems like now sitting here, it's like you shouldn't do that, right? I mean, you're just leaving stuff out all day in the sun.
I think she read something that was like, oh, it has nothing to do with the sun. If you just put tea in water, eventually it'll diffuse.
I guess that makes sense too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how you make cold brew, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, well, actually, I asked her, I was like, well, then why are you putting it out in the sun? And she was like, it's romantic. And I was like, that is the best answer you could possibly give me.
Sure.
Don't
And
try and defend it.
the rays of the sun, you can taste them.
Sure.
You know?
Fine. I don't need science. It is romantic.
Sure.
Golden.
What's your tea variety?
She's been getting into all the teas recently. Whenever
Earl Grey.
whenever we quit drinking, right? She switched over. We became teetotalers for the most part.
Right. Totally tea.
Totally tea. So she's got your green teas. That's for laziness, right? She's got herbal teas of a certain type, then of a different type. Some with fruit, some with less fruit.
Okay.
She's got plenty of different teas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about some of those like funky teas?
I don't know about funky teas.
Because there's some that have a real weird. I don't even know how to describe it. Muskiness to them.
Muskiness.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a wide world of teas out there for you to
Okay.
explore of all kinds of different flavor profiles.
So you're talking about like the cheese of tea.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, that exists.
That sounds gross.
It's in your future.
Well, that's what
You
British
keep
people
going
do.
down the tea path.
Ugh. Never. What's your bright spot?
Enjoy. I guess.
Thank you.
Well, I guess my bright spot is playing that Diablo 4.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying this season, and I just like playing as a druid.
Yeah.
Because I got a posse. That's all. I enjoy having werewolves with me that run around.
Yep.
And some birds that fly around my head. I play almost any game that allows me to have like some pets running around.
It's great.
Have a team.
It's fantastic.
Yep. So anyway, today we have an episode to go over, Jordan.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about June 20th,
All right.
2024.
All right.
That is Thursday's show because Alex was out of studio on Friday.
All right.
And I thought there would be a Saturday show, but there was not.
Okay, so just he's not out of studio. There's just no show.
No, there was a show. Owen hosted.
Oh, okay.
But who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah, but no show on Saturday, and here we are.
Okay.
This show is interesting. It's very weird, and I will confess ahead of time that I did turn it off before it was over.
Good.
Because I was just like, I can't. I'm out.
Okay.
But we'll get down to business on this and all that. But before we do, let's say hello to some new wonks.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
So first, hey, Adam, I'm a wonk. Ball's in your court. I may not be the mysterious professor, but I am Wilford Snibble Snabble of the Gribble Pibble. Thank you so much. You are now Ballsy Wonk.
I'm a policy wonk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Alex Jones. Thank you so much. You are now Ballsy Wonk.
I'm a policy wonk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Peter Hooney. Thank you so much. You are now Ballsy Wonk.
I'm a policy wonk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Jake from MD, you globalist scum. I will eat your ass. Also, the EU did 9/11. It's a demon feast. Thank you so much. You are now Ballsy Wonk.
I'm a policy wonk.
Thank you very much.
So we got this here episode, and I think things are evolving kind of interestingly.
All right.
We started from a place where in the conspiracy right wing culture, you will eat the bugs.
Sure.
Was very, very popular.
It's very popular.
But now it's moved on.
we haven't eaten the bugs yet.
No, but now you're going to drink the bugs.
Okay.
We have a full rollout on mainstream TV about bug milk. Ground up bugs is your new milk because cows are bad and create methane, so you have to drink bug milk. It's not milk, it's ground up bug juice. You've got, funded by King Charles and the different globalist groups, the Extinction Rebellion, No Oil people attacking Taylor Swift's aircraft. I mean, it just goes on and on. Massive detention facilities in all 50 states to imprison political dissidents. That's confirmed. We've got reports and video of that.
Oh, wow. FEMA camps are back.
Oh,
You're going
man.
to do this again. But also, you're going to drink the bugs.
There's a few people looking at Taylor Swift's plane, and it goes on.
It goes on.
It goes on.
And they're involved with King Charles sent
Charles.
those people. Okay.
All right.
This is quite a rundown of headlines.
I think it's so weird. It's so weird now after Louis Black's soy milk bit came out 20 years ago, right? Like, at this point, soy milk is still around. And not just that. It's expanded. There's almond milk. Like, if you could be so vitriolic about soybean milk back then and be like, we'll never do all this stuff, and now it's everywhere, just let it go. We'll drink bug milk. We'll get there.
They were just doing that like a couple years ago with Soy Boys and stuff like that,
Yeah.
though. Like, Alex is still on the soy milk tip.
No,
They're
he
mad about
drinks
that.
soy milk.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it is something to behold, though. The way that, like, decades have passed, and the complaint is more or less the same. Fucking milk alternatives.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'll drink bug milk. Fine, I'll drink bug milk.
No
Just
one's forcing you to drink bug milk.
Just leave me alone.
So we have this going on in the background.
Yeah.
King Charles is sabotaging Taylor Swift's plane. They're going to make you eat bug milk, and FEMA camps are
Top
coming
stories of the day.
back. Yeah. But now we get grounded a little bit more with some political election 2024
okay,
news.
good.
It's official. The power structure is in total panic mode. Major polls, and there's a whole spectrum of them I've got here, Gallup, you name it, have Hispanics between 50 and 63% on the high end pro-Trump. Now, at his height, they lied back in 2016 and said he hated Hispanics, so he only got about 20% of the vote.
I'm sorry, he
By
lied?
the time he left office, he had about 40% support. Now it's at least 50, and most of the polls have him at 60 to 63. That is massive. I mean, Trump's got like 60% support with white voters. So Hispanics are becoming more supportive than even, quote, white people.
This is a little bit of an exaggeration. But yeah, Trump is doing better among Latino voters.
Sure. I want to try and dig into this because Alex does this. He can just say things that are so filled with meaning that we should tear apart, but it's just a small sentence. Like, he lied and said he hated Hispanics.
No, the media lied and said that Trump hated Hispanics.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't that Trump lied
No.
and said he hated Hispanics.
No, although
I was like, so wait, you're admitting that Trump said he hated Hispanics?
No,
And
you
now you're
misheard
saying
that.
that it was a lie that he said. But wait a minute, but that doesn't.
the media told the lie that he said that, and that
Right.
made the vote proportion low.
Right. Okay, that
People
makes.
bought into the media narrative.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure I heard him say that.
No, it did sound like that, but no.
Okay.
I think you misheard that.
Okay.
In all fairness.
Fair enough. No. If
Although
listen,
your reading of it is very interesting.
it seems obvious, really.
So, in this next clip, Alex talks about how he was successfully stopped the last time they tried to do a COVID lockdown.
Right.
And the reality of this is just that the airlines had announced that they were going to start requiring like their staff to wear masks.
Yeah.
And then Alex started yelling about it and declared victory.
Oh, okay.
That all the COVID precautions didn't come back.
Easy win.
Yeah, big win.
Yeah.
You remember last year, July, August, I had a TSA manager, I'll leave it at that I know personally. I won't say what airport, but I've known him for a long time. They were called in and they said, by October, November, we're going to roll out the mask and restrictions again. And they tried, but they failed. Well, now it's official. From New York to Washington State, the Democrat Party operatives are recommending masks go back on for the bird flu. So they are going to roll this out. They're already killing cows and chickens and turkeys all over the country. The federal government's cutting off water supplies from Iowa to Idaho. They've cut off the energy. They've cut off the fertilizer. They are destroying the economy by design. Deadly bird flu could be worse than COVID, as officials urge to act now to save humanity. Seattle health officials suggest return to COVID precautions, including mask travel. Same thing in New York.
So there's something interesting going on here, and that those are two unrelated headlines that Alex is reading off and suggesting they're connected. The first one is about a doctor from Brown University commenting on how bad it could be if the bird flu was actively transmitting between people, and how cow udders are an effective place where the virus could mutate from something that doesn't infect humans to something that does. The other article is about an increase in positive COVID tests among King County, Washington emergency room patients. The previous weekend's rate was 0.5% compared to this last one at 1.5%. It's still not super high as a number, but it is a tripling of the rate, so it's worth noting, and the county's communicable disease chief said, quote, "I don't know how high this peak is going to be, when it's going to peak, but taking precautions now is the best way for people to be able to mitigate the complications related to COVID." No one's mandating anything. It's just a public health official saying, hey, it's better to be careful. Alex is reporting these two stories together because in his world, they actually are connected. There's no bird flu. There's no COVID. These are just PR campaigns being waged by the globalists. Even if these viruses do exist, strictly speaking, there's no reason to be worried about them. So news stories discussing potential dangers of human transmission of bird flu or suggesting that it may be a good idea to be cautious about COVID, it's all just an illusion. These stories exist to serve as cover for the authoritarian power grab that the globalists are planning to make. To Alex, there's just one story here. The globalists are using a fake health scare to seize power. That story is the story that's being reported, and all the other details are kind of irrelevant to anything. In the real world, these two headlines may be about completely different topics, but they're close enough that Alex is able to make them feel connected underneath by the umbrella of conspiracy that he's using both of them to prop up.
Yeah, if anybody recommends anything based on any health kind of thing that isn't like try pills that Alex sells, then they're
You want some fucking iodine for that bird flu?
Now
then
I
we're
do.
good.
Now we're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
This
good.
is not a power grab. This is a ad.
Right. So as long as we know what we need, which is iodine, and what we have, which is bird flu, then we're fine. No need for masks. Take that, Seattle.
Yeah, you have like. I find that this is something that is important to understand, that the language of InfoWars is like these are two completely unrelated headlines about two different diseases. And two different world situations.
No one knows each other in these.
And they are the same story to Alex.
Right.
And to the audience. The listener experiences them as the same story, which is globalists are using fake health shit in order to rule your life.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little bit like listening to a radio serial, where the narrative is like just the world. Only it's false.
Yeah.
So you might as well have the shadow involved.
And the narrator is intensely unreliable.
So you might as well have the shadow involved.
Right. So, they're going to make you drink the bugs. We know this.
Yeah.
They're already making you eat them, and you don't even know it.
Eat bugs.
In the last 2 years, all of the major top 15 or so processed food producers, the TV dinners, the breaded chicken, Tyson chicken, all of them, breaded fried chicken fried steaks you buy at the store.
Name 5 more examples.
They've changed the label. There's just a code now on the back of the box. And they put, quote, insect flour. They always call fake meat meat. It's not meat. And it's the same thing with this. It's not flour. It's bug protein. It's bug chitin. Very toxic, very bad for you, very cancerous in all the studies. Causes all sorts of bone cancer, stomach cancer, you name it. And so now they're calling it bug milk.
So this is all made up.
Yeah.
The root of this story is just lies and conspiracy bullshit about Tyson Foods investing in a company called Protix, which creates insect-based ingredients.
Alex already said you name it 2 times. And I'm going to take 2 drinks for that. All right? And then we'll just go ahead and take a drink every time we hear you name it.
Sure. The reason that Tyson created this partnership is they have a very strong business incentive. Protix can use the Tyson's manufacturing byproducts that might otherwise go to waste in order to create their products.
Great.
It's a cyclical
Great stuff.
benefit.
Recycling.
Protix didn't make insect flour that would be used on Tyson foods. They're mostly used in pet foods. This is ridiculous.
Sure.
Further, Alex is just lying about the dangers of insect flours. But there is a company from South Africa called Gourmet Grub that creates a product called Ento Milk, which is a dairy alternative made from black soldier fly larvae.
Okay.
They've been in human interest stories about this company. There have been a bunch of them for the past few years.
Bug milk people.
Look, because they made an ice cream out of Ento milk.
Yeah. Okay.
But I guess today is the day that they want you to eat the bugs. People, they're deciding let's fold this into the conspiracy. But it isn't news. This is a company that's been around for at least a few years now.
I feel like here's why you can't escalate with the you're gonna eat the blank, right? Because eventually you say, like he just did, they've already started putting bugs in your food, right? So once you've said they've already started putting bugs in my food, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I've been fine. They've been putting bugs in my food for 2 years. I'm fine.
But here's the plot twist.
So how about let's throw some milk on top of it.
You're not. It's a slow kill bug.
It's a slow kill bug?
I don't know. That's how you would get around it. Yes, I don't know.
Everything's a slow kill bug.
Fair enough.
Regular milk is a slow kill bug.
Yeah. Well, when you put it that way.
Yeah. Eat some drink. You will drink the bug.
So we got another headline here that's being distorted.
Well, anybody can know there's billions of people want to come here. They come here and get all this free stuff. We're all going to collapse. I mean, just a small percentage of the student loans being forgiven has upped the debt in the CBO 27%. That's CNN reporting. I mean, student loan relief contributing to 27% jump in projected federal budget deficit.
It's because CNN is against
Congressional
it
Budget
too.
Office reports.
They're ideologically aligned with you, Alex.
So Trump is surging, and remember, this is CBS whitewashing it. This is CBS soft pedaling it. The numbers are way worse for the system. Trump is 20 points, 25 points ahead nationwide, depending on the poll. Battlegrounds, at least 10 to 13. You can't steal that. Don't have enough dead people's names in Zuckerberg's database he spent $400-something million on 4 years ago to steal the election.
Can't wait for you to claim that the election was stolen one way or the other. So exciting that you can't do it, and yet I imagine you probably will still say they did.
Here's my pitch. All right. We announce that Trump won on the night no matter what. Right? And we don't even bother thinking about the results.
Okay.
Right? Then we wait a couple of weeks.
When you say we, do you mean everyone?
Yeah, the whole
Okay,
the
not
whole
just
world.
you and I.
No.
Okay.
Not just you and I. Everybody. We wait a couple of weeks and we're like, oh, surprise, we found some votes, right? But we are going to keep. So even though Trump isn't actually elected president, which we've proven, we're going to let him stay president because why? We're busy. It's too hard.
Okay.
To stop him.
So what does this achieve?
What do they do? The election was stolen, but we're not going to unsteal it from Trump because he stole it. Right? But they have to know that it was stolen by him.
Right. I mean, it's a psyop.
That's what I'm saying. We got a psyop.
No, but the psyop is a psyop.
But now you're getting psyoped.
Right. It's all
Okay.
cyclical. This scheme of yours is interesting on paper, but it wouldn't work.
All right. It probably wouldn't work. You're right.
No,
I also don't know what the objective would be.
No. Seems like in the end Trump wins.
I guess I'm pitching to Ashton Kutcher on this one. I guess
It's a punked
this is
situation.
a punked situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this show entirely passively, you'll hear Alex say something like student loan forgiveness has boosted the debt 27% according to the Congressional Budget Office, reported by CNN. You'll just hear that and you'll take it at face value. If you're listening and you're superficially skeptical, you might go to the CNN story and find the headline, quote, student loan relief contributing to 27% jump in projected federal budget deficit per CBO, and you'll say to yourself, damn, Alex was right. However, if you're interested in the actual story, you might dig a little bit further into the article and find out what these numbers actually mean. The federal budget deficit is projected to be 27% higher than the estimate that was made back in February. This is about $400 billion difference. Only $145 billion of that even has to do with Biden's student loan repayment plans. So already you can see how that headline that says that student loan relief is contributing to that 27% increase is already being mishandled. In his coverage of the headline, Alex is ignoring the other contributions to that increase. Bigger picture, extending out Trump's tax cuts, which heavily benefit the rich, involves $3.4 trillion that impacts the deficit, according to this same CNN article that Alex is using as his primary source. The point is that Alex is often making shit up, which he's able to do because headlines like this are written in CNN and they work to his benefit.
Yeah.
Like the writing of that headline is prime for the kind of use that Alex is trying to use it as a prop for.
Yeah, was that headline written by a cartoonish rich person holding a giant bag of money?
It functionally, it might as well have been. I mean,
Poor people allowed to eat? Wrong!
the impression that it gives off is one that is a little bit...
student loan borrowers are destroying the economy, and it's your fault, you student loan borrower, as opposed to rich people are owed several $1 trillion just because it's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of news.
Uh-huh.
But there's some things that are more important than news.
Okay.
All right, I want to get into the other federal news and border news and election news, but I've got two extremely exciting announcements to make. It's been sold out for a while. It's, when we have it in stock, our number one bestseller. It is pure deep earth crystal iodine. It's so hard to make. You've got to have DEA-approved labs that do it, and it takes months and months to break it down in this special patented process. Nobody else has true nascent iodine. They put it on the label, but it's still bound to other elements, and it's not fully absorbable by the cells. It's the missing link.
This is big. This is a big announcement. We got the iodine.
Oh, boy. Iodine. Still going.
There's a lot of news, but we got iodine.
Got iodine.
So
The deep earth stuff.
We talk about this for a bit,
Yeah, I believe it.
for a fair amount of time. That leads to a revelation that I think is a little bit surprising. And that is that Alex is saying that, look, we got the stock that we've got, but we haven't ordered anything else.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't have anything else coming.
Yeah, that's what you should say, because you shouldn't exist anymore, right?
In theory,
Yeah.
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 So apparently there is no more shit coming.
There's no more shit.
Unless he decides somehow to order more stuff. He rambles a bit about this and then starts complaining about Atlantic Monthly.
That'll happen.
We've gone from being right on the edge of the red to in the black substantively. Instead of a tenth of a tank, we've got like a 20th of a tank because people are like, whoa, we better support. So here's the problem. We're almost sold out of everything. We got a big shipment of X2 in. We're about to get a shipment of Vitamin Mineral Fusion in. Nothing else is ordered. We got T-shirts, books, films. In the interim, if we do get a buyer or somebody to come in, we're going to bring on a bunch of sponsors in the interim to get the products reordered to survive. So it's a paradox. It's a catch-22. This place was intentionally, in my view, run on the ground by the guy that hated me and wanted to fire me and wanted to shut this down. That's all admitted in court. So he didn't order more products in the future. He didn't do any of that stuff. I think it's overwhelmingly clear the plan was to shut this place down. 2 + 2 = 4. So we're in a very precarious situation, but I know this. You order the products now, in the next 3 months, you get them. We got a very respected trustee now in my personal bankruptcy, which means they're over this company that I own. And so I'm going to try to work with them and do all of that, even though it's not monetarily helps me. I don't care about that. I care about this operation. They have a big Atlantic Monthly article about Alex Jones lost everything and still won. I didn't lose anything. You think I care about a farm, 100-something acres outside Austin, middle of nowhere? Think I care about something like that? No. I care about the truth and justice. So I didn't have all this money they claimed and the stuff they took. In Texas, you've got your basic house and a car. That's all I need. I don't care. They took nothing from me. Alex Jones lost nothing and still won. Because that stuff means nothing to me. The Atlantic Monthly is owned by Steve Jobs' widow. She's the most frequent visitor at Epstein Island. Best friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. She's a monster. And it is an honor and a pleasure to have the Epstein Island alumni hating my guts. But they also lie in the article and say that Jones also said Parkland shooting in Florida was fake. Never said that. That's defamation. I'm going to have my lawyers send them a letter to retract, or I'm going to sue them. Haven't made that phone call yet. When I get off air today, I'm saying, you send them a letter, we're suing them. They say a bunch of stuff. It's over. We're getting ready to sue the FBI and the CIA when they're all on record saying they're running the operation against us. Congress is involved. The Senate is look, we're giving them documents. So you think we're rolling over to your crap? You think it's a one-way street when you do all this? All you Justice Department people, you'll see. So that's where we are. Yeah, there's the owner of Atlantic Monthly, Steve Jobs' wife, with old Ghislaine. So they're all compromised, they're all controlled, and they're liars. But I'm digressing. I want to hit news now. InfoWarsStore.com, X2 back in stock, up to 40%.
That's the news.
And we got some
deals.
We get a better deal when you order multiple bottles.
Hitting the
news. It could be your
news.
last chance.
What the fuck?
To get all these products.
Oh, boy.
It's ridiculous.
All
yeah,
right.
the news. Get a big.
All right.
My plug was interrupted by my complaining about the Atlantic Monthly. Please sue them. Please, Alex.
I mean,
Please sue the FBI, sue the CIA. Just do it all.
Everything.
This is the next stage. This needs to be what he does next. Continuing on with his show is kind of boring.
There's no reason for it.
No. Trump wins or doesn't, and then there isn't really a next chapter for him as a pro-Trump fighter.
No.
We've already played out the Trump is in power and, we got to root out the deep state. We'll get them.
Yep.
We've already done that sort of song and dance. It's going to get really old really fast. If Trump loses, then, we're just back to that stasis. Sue everybody.
Even worse, the worst thing for all of these people, the absolute worst thing, is for Trump to reach the 2-term limit and then just be done. Mm-hmm. That's not a dramatic ending at all. Mm-mm. That's just how it's supposed to go.
Yeah. And for Alex, this doesn't go out sort of in a gentle fade out. He needs to escalate his career to the next level, and that is trying to fight the actual government.
Yeah, you want a Cooper without the guns.
Yeah. And that isn't going to happen unless you sue the CIA.
He's got to do something.
Sue the Atlantic Monthly.
What's great about it is that I'm on his team. If he wins,
not necessarily.
If he wins, all the money goes to the families. I don't give a shit if he wins. He's a funnel now.
I would be very interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure I'm on his side because here's a little clip from March 27th, 2018, where Alex is talking to Ben Garrison about Parkland.
Okay.
Let me just tell you. I've been told by Army Special Operations, the CIA, the Justice Department, the FBI, Alex, you're not going far enough. Parkland is fake. And they go, we can't get into it. It's classified, but you need to look into this. And this is like real phone calls with Army generals and stuff. This is not like me just saying this on air. And that's why they're so scared of this broadcast. So I didn't even think it was fake. And then they flipped out and said that I said it was fake, Ben, because they didn't even want anybody looking at it. Exactly. I mean, it's crazy.
Please fucking sue them. Just do it. Enjoy.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, well. So another thing that might end up in courts is Alex's behavior vis-a-vis Dr. Jones Naturals.
Oh, yeah.
I think he is getting more and more brazen with the stuff that he's just saying on air.
I can't believe this.
This next clip was shocking.
But who knows what's going to happen? That's where we're at. So that's a little update there. And then separately, very exciting, when I thought that the InfoWars was going to be shut down a few weeks ago, I called my dad up and I said, well, they've kicked all your products out of the store that you developed, you designed, you built. You've already got your own shopping cart. I said, you should probably get your Turbo Force out of Denver, only 5,000 canisters left, and bring them to drjonesnaturals.com. And he did. They came in last week, and it went on sale today. 43% off is the number they came up with. 43% off on 10-hour clean energy Turbo Force at drjonesnaturals.com.
Oh, so these are completely separate companies, but you're shifting inventory around based on your fear that you're going to get shut down.
My God.
You're coordinating inventory and sales and all this with your dad, who's running this completely different company that is not at all. Okay, man, sure.
I just don't know how you can get away with, I thought I was going to be shut down, first part of the sentence.
Uh-huh.
So I called my dad. Second part of the
Who
sentence.
runs a completely separate business.
No. See, because they're in the same sentence now.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I said you should get your stuff out of here and sell it on your website.
Right, that would be smart. That would be smart. But instead of doing that,
man, I just don't know how this isn't a huge problem, because it seems like it should be.
I feel like committing a crime. You should try to hide it, right? That's the idea. It's a crime,
I guess. So when you get into this deep of an ad, where you're, talking about the exciting announcement that iodine's back,
right?
When you're talking about how you're going to sue the Atlantic Monthly, when you're admitting to coordinating inventory issues with your dad, who runs a completely separate business, when you're that deep in it, sometimes it's hard to get out of the ad. Sometimes the ad claws you back when you're trying to escape out of it.
Okay.
And we see Alex struggle with that here.
Okay.
Fiber caps, green fibers, capsules are also discounted at drjonesnaturals.com. All right, I'm done plugging. I thank you all very respectfully for your support. Let's now shift gears back into all of this news that we've got. Let's I'm not pausing because I have lack of news. I'm saying, used to, I've been on here 30 years. It's all about 10 years ago. I would line up the stacks because I don't like having to be on a laptop or something because stories get changed, they get taken down, or computers go down, or internet gets slow, so I print everything. But I used to have the stacks all in a row, and then I would just neurotically go through each stack in order, but then the stacks got bigger and bigger, so there was no way to do that. Then it becomes this thing where, okay, my gosh, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've covered 4 stacks, barely, and I've got all those other stacks. So a lot of these I'm covering next hour. That's what I'm thinking about here. Let's do this because it's really important. I'm not going to air the whole thing because it's like 8 minutes long, but it's Alex Jones goes to the scene of the crime. And this is in Michigan, in Detroit, where they stole the election in 2020. TPUSA Action had their event with myself and Trump and J.D. Vance and Jack Posobiec there. And it was amazing to be there.
As he plays a little video package about him going to Turning Point. But what I'm trying to express, I think I said it the wrong way, is like he couldn't get out of the ad.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you end up reverting to another ad, but instead he just couldn't get his wheels moving to get back into talking about anything else.
Yeah. It felt like he was in molasses.
Yeah.
Like just sitting there going like, I don't want to talk about this.
Do this.
I don't want to do this job anymore.
No.
I feel like what I'm hearing is I don't want to do this.
Yeah. the ambivalence to do something other than talk about how great your iodine is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these news headlines in front of me that these stories bore me. I haven't read them. Who gives a shit?
Yep.
Let's play that fucking video of me and
totally
at Turning Point.
Yeah.
Associating with and in the adjacency of really relevant, important people.
Ugh.
And then also quoting Baron Harkonnen. It's weird.
Never
we talked about that on the last episode.
Never a bad idea. He's the good guy.
According to some.
Yeah.
Weird.
Mm.
So this next clip, this is I'm just gonna give it to I'm gonna give it to you up front.
Sure.
Alex is going to introduce his gold sponsor, Kirk Elliott.
Okay.
They're going to do a little bit of an infomercial about how everybody's selling off the dollar and the economy is going to collapse and you need to buy gold, all that stuff.
No matter how things change, they stay the same.
Yes.
They did.
So I wanted to play this clip, but I wanted to give that away in advance because sometimes I like to do a little bit of a rug pull.
Sure.
But in this case, I wanted you to pay attention to and note how it's so obvious that he's ramping up to his gold sponsor while talking about everything else that is in this clip.
Okay.
After we dropped my 7-year-old daughter off at summer camp this morning, and my wife and I were driving back to the house at about 8:30 in the morning, she looked at me, she said, "What are we going to do?" She said, "Clearly, everything you said is coming true. You can see it everywhere. The inflation's off the hook. All these wars. We need to get out of the city." And I'm like, listen, it's not safe anywhere. The safest thing is to stop this from happening, not running. And I get it. If you're not on the air and you can move the country and get away, that's smart. Do it. Not me. I'm going down with the ship. She said, okay, fine. But when I get up here and I talk about this level of danger, folks, I'm not hyping it. Like 2.5 weeks ago, I said they're trying to close the doors. They sent in feds to shut the doors. People didn't believe it. Then it came out in court. I was like, we're sorry. We didn't believe you. That's hard to believe. You're not in a normal place anymore. That's what it's like Dorothy says to Toto, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. I'm sorry that's the case. I'm not the one doing this. They want to act like it's my fault for exposing it. No. I'm trying to get people ready to deal with this. So I don't know. I said it'd be bird flu. Now they're officially rolling that out, and cyber attacks and expanded war, and NATO announced 2 days ago, hey, we're going to put F-16s in other countries so Russia can't bomb them like Poland, and we're going to bomb Russia with NATO pilots and NATO planes. Folks, that is full World War III. So Thursday Live.
Yeah.
Deep State Dems panic, and 63% of Hispanics support Trump in new polls. Stunned globalists roll out bird flu in response. And they got a lot of other tricks up their sleeve, but the bubble is coming to an end. And they need to get you scared to accept the central bank digital currencies and the unified ledger where they control and track and own everything you've got, and they're the, quote, stewards of it. If it's like you're a brain-damaged child or something and you don't have your rights and somebody's your guardian. It's not like that. That's what this is. So look, deadly bird flu, CNN, AP, Reuters, could be worse than COVID as officials urge act now to save humanity. See this? All these different jurisdictions. Seattle health officials suggest return to COVID precautions, including mass travel. They're already killing cows and chickens all over the United States. It's going down, folks. So I wish we weren't in this situation, but at least we've been awake to it for a long time and warned people, so we've got a fighting chance. Imagine how bad it would be if people weren't wise to this, and more are wise every day. So, Dr. Kirk Elliott was not planning to be on the show today, but he's very busy. I called and begged him to come on because he's the top silver broker in the country, like the second or third largest gold broker, because he has the best prices and best quality. And yeah, I'm plugging. You should go to him. You should call. You should get gold and silver right now.
So I'm not exactly sure why, but it felt very obvious to me, to the point where when he said Dr. Kirk Elliott, I pumped my fist.
Yeah.
I was like, got it.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew he was. I just felt like this is a buildup for end of the world shit.
Yep.
It could have been like some kind of a survival food, maybe, but he mentioned economic stuff.
It was the inflation early on. Mm-hmm. The inflation was the one that got me.
Yeah, that was kind of a big marker.
Because he doesn't really talk about inflation that much, unless it's like
he does. He does a little,
but in like, oh, the Democrats suck and inflation's higher. Not like inflation is part of the end of the world.
He does a little.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't listen to every part of it.
Yeah, no, he does a tiny bit, but
Okay.
its presence in the story felt relevant.
Yeah.
And then it just I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about
You
that.
just vibe.
Yeah,
You just vibe it
I
now.
felt the vibe.
You just feel it. You feel the gold coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do a bit of an infomercial for gold and
Sure.
silver and stuff, and I don't really care.
What good? Okay. And I'm not saying that it's like it's not possible that there will be a solid use for it, or an economy of or sort of black market economy might develop that involves gold or the like. But I do feel like once NATO drops a bomb on Russia, right? I'm more interested in like water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like gold seems like everything's going to collapse real quick.
Well, but that's why you need the gold, because it has inherent value as opposed to all these currencies that are going to be...
Gold has inherent value?
Yeah, because it always has. It stores value, and everybody wants it because it's shiny.
Oh, man, I understand these guys, but, man, World War III feels like a post-Gold war.
Well, another thing is that Kirk is pushing the idea that there is a opportunity for a short squeeze on
Short
silver.
squeeze silver? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So everybody's shorting it, and you
Everybody
could,
likes, yeah.
pull one of those moves
Yeah.
on it by getting it.
Oh, yeah.
So buy his.
Absolutely.
So that's
Great.
going on.
Cool.
Anyway, Alex gets into international politics a little
Okay.
bit. Talks a little bit about German far-right political party.
Good people?
Milk toast. Kind of.
I'm sorry, the German far right is milk toast for
Kind
Alex?
of like Ron Paul.
Meanwhile, Germany moves closer to banning AfD, which is now the largest majority party in Germany, but it's a parliamentary system, so they're still outnumbered by the other parties. So what does the German government do? Well, you got double the votes we got in the last election 2 weeks ago. We'll just ban you. Yeah. And by the way, AfD is like milquetoast conservative. I mean, like, I'm not a super hardcore right-winger compared to some people, as you know. I'm more of a populist Christian. Not more of, that's what I am. But my politics are more reliant on what we call right-wing. Those are just terms. But, I mean, AfD is like kind of Ron Paulish. So they want to ban it.
Yeah, Ron Paulish.
I am feeling I know it's 1937 when I'm hearing the right in America go, Hitler's not that bad.
Alex
He's
is
kind of a middle of the road guy.
Alex is talking about how, like, people are getting in trouble for singing a song, just singing
Jesus
a song.
Christ.
Now that song is "Migrants Get Out," but they're getting in trouble for just going around
It's
and
just
singing
a song. Listen, it's never
all right,
gone
buddy.
out of control from here, especially not in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Cool, man.
Great.
Just sort of normalize and middle road this thing. That's a good idea.
That's not good.
So there's social media, obviously a preoccupation of Alex's.
Sure.
There was a meme that was going around. I don't know if you saw this, but it was talking. It broke up the country into regions.
Oh, like Hunger Games regions?
Kind of. It was
Okay.
like, who would win in a war? Would it be the West Coast, the East Coast,
Sure.
the South, Midwest?
Sure.
What have you? And so Alex has some thoughts about this.
But I posted on X yesterday.
We're fantasy booking
Matt,
the
that was
Civil War?
viral.
Okay.
And I'll show you an overhead shot of it. And it shows the United States broken up into 4 regions: the West, the Midwest, the Northeast, and the South. And folks asked that posted it, if we split the U.S. and went to war, who would win? I'll give you the answer in just a moment, in my view. But here's a larger shot of the map. And, of course, the lines aren't really exactly drawn. But let's just take this fantasy at face value and look at that and then talk about real world.
Let's do it. Let's take this fantasy and then let's talk about the real world.
No.
Why not?
No.
Why not?
No. Let's take my fantasy at face value. All right? Here's what we do instead. All right? Because I get it. People are from different areas, and they feel like they don't belong sometimes. I understand, right? But we can't be fighting wars every time people don't feel like they belong. However, we can be playing Red Rover.
Okay.
So if you're Midwestern and you're in the West, you know, you guys have a whole Red Rover thing going on. Because I bet people from the Midwest don't all want to live here. But I bet people from the West don't all want to live in the West. Maybe we don't kill each other. We just swap.
You forget an important element of Red Rover, which is that you it's about borders.
Sure.
The game itself is about trying to create a line that other people can't cross.
Right.
You seem to forget the mechanics of the game.
I do seem
You
to
think
forget.
it's just people running across a field.
I think it's just people running across a field.
You need to remember game rules,
I forgot
bro.
about the part where you have to, because nobody could ever stop me. I was always a bit of a bigger kid.
Oh, must be nice. Must be nice to be good at Red Rover.
Yes, I was great at Red Rover. I was the top Red Rover guy.
See, this is your privilege showing that you don't even know the rules because we're unstoppable.
I was one of the top 5 Red Rover kids, and it was 95th percentile.
So there's an interesting dynamic that's going on here, which is Alex is trying to say no one wins in a civil war.
Right.
There would not be a winner in any of this.
Right.
The globalists would win if we all broke off into 4 sections of the United States and fought each other.
Sure.
But also the South would win.
Yeah, obviously that's gonna be the like, hey, nobody should do anything but go Wake Forest.
Yeah, it's,
You know, like,
hey,
okay, great.
the globalists want us all to fight each other, and it's silly to even engage with these kinds of ideas, but the South will rise again.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ.
That is the whole thing going on.
What are we
here.
doing?
Now, in a real world, it's not going to be Texas and Florida and Alabama and Georgia and Oklahoma and Arkansas and Louisiana and the rest of it against these states. You're going to have small cities that are globalist controlled that go along with it. But you're going to have all of these people instantly join, if this was a real fight, the South. You're going to have almost all the Midwest except for Detroit and Minneapolis and Chicago join. And you're going to have most of the people in Pennsylvania and rural areas join as well. So if you actually put up a map, because they usually put the maps up according to states, like you'll see a whole bunch of red states and a few blue states. But those blue states are the most populous, but it's actually the cities. If you go to an actual blue and red map, go to an actual county-by-county map of Republican versus Democrat. Type in U.S. map, county-by-county, U.S. map, county-by-county, blue versus red. You'll see it's just little blue spots like a herpes infection or the Black Plague or whatever you want to call it, some type of thing that's happening. I don't mean black people there. I'm just thinking of a disease.
What are we doing?
Spots.
Dude,
Does,
come on,
herpes,
man.
So does smallpox, chicken pox, whatever. So you see those chicken pox things on there. Yeah, there it is. So this idea that it's regions against each other is not true. You would instantly have 80% of the country geographically and 60+% of the populations regardless joining that. But if we were dumb enough to fight each other over whether we're from the Northeast or the Midwest or the West or the South, then the South would win. Doesn't matter how much fake money New York City's got. None of that has value and we don't accept it.
Okay, so the South would win, but also in the real world, all of these other places would join the South.
Fine. I'm not. No. You know what? I could easily get dragged into this.
Right.
But no.
Well, you were mentioning a challenge earlier.
Sure.
Here's the challenge that I would have.
Yeah.
Get off fucking social media, Alex.
Totally.
Who cares? Who cares about this map? I don't care about your thoughts about it.
Totally.
I get it. You love the South.
Totally.
Cool. Everyone's going to join the South.
Yep.
Whatever. You're Confederate royalty. It's just exhausting.
Let me tell you who wins in a fight between the South and the North and the Midwest and the West. You know who wins this?
Who?
Not the people. Nobody that's dumb enough to be in this fight that the South would win, technically.
Oh, my God.
Nobody, because everybody's moving from the Northeast and the West and from the Northern Midwest here. Not because we're perfect, but because we haven't gotten all the communist ideologies fully in place yet. Oh, we're sinking fast. Don't worry. We're just the best house in a bad neighborhood. Let's not start celebrating the South saying it's got everything together. It don't. But yeah, this would win. But the globalists would win in that fight. It's a stupid fight. It's not going to happen.
It's a stupid fight, but it's less stupid for the South because the South would win.
Yep.
Shut up.
Oh, my God.
Just why? Just you saw a meme. I get it.
It's part of the identity thing, so I get it. But I mean, I just don't get like that that whole regional pride. I don't get school spirit. I don't get any of that shit. I've never had any. I don't care where I'm from. This isn't my place. I wasn't like, this is all Native American. Like, I don't care, right? Like, I don't understand this whole, like, oh, the South. What are you fucking talking about, the South? The South.
I have a little bit of, sort of Midwestern identity, I guess.
Do you?
Having lived in the Midwest for a while, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm scared of
mountains.
mountains. I don't know if that's an identity so much as it is like, I haven't seen these from flatland. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be part of part of your internal core.
Yeah.
So Alex complains a little bit in this next clip. He's talking about how he doesn't want there to be a race war, which is good.
That is good. That is nice.
On the surface, I would say good. No race war.
Sure.
And then he complains about something that's pretty funny, which is he's been swearing too much on air lately.
That'll happen.
So Louis Farrakhan tells black people don't take the shot, but all those paid black activists that are pushing Black Lives Matter and division, they're the ones, though, that said you need to roll your sleeve up and take the shot because we really care about you. Do you think these globalists want to kill black people? Are going to hire a white person to push it on them? No, because you're going to listen to them. But you're going to listen to a black face, at least some of you are. So let's stop killing each other. Let's stop acting like a bunch of assholes. Excuse my French. Delay that. Had a lot of complaints from stations about profanity. The delays had a problem a few weeks ago. Plus, we got so many clips, it's hard to catch it all. The callers call in. The Democrats are cussing on every station. They don't get in trouble, but we're conservatives. That's how we're seen. I'm a populist Christian. And so our stations get in trouble when that happens. So I got to be really careful. No more cussing. Got to be really careful about that. I promise the stations. Some of them are 50,000 waters. They're great. I said, I promise I'll clean my act up. And I mean if I do it. Now, sometimes the whole world's falling down around.
Hello, Dante. Yes. This is basically like my cat is doing theater, and we're putting on Celine makeup to make him look like Celine. So I have a reference picture of Celine here from when Knowledge Fight tweeted out this picture. But I'm using that as a reference to make a little costume for my own cat so I can animate Celine doing this animation here. So I'm using my own cat kind of as a model. And we're gonna have a nice new little Celine looking her paw thing. I'm kind of just experimenting with the first frame to see about color and stuff. And there's like this many frames. I'm not going to have to repaint every single frame. I'm going to do a lot of warping and smudging and liquefying once I get the face down. And both eyes are going to be closed for a majority of the animation, so I don't have to draw the eye like a million times. Using your own cat as reference is the shit. I know, right? I have perfect models of cats all around me all the time, so I might as well, there's no reason to have to steal some other footage if I can just create it myself so easily. And it's got that personal touch to it. Because I was watching a lot of videos that are like behind the scenes, acty movie kind of stuff. And that kind of got me into the mindset of like, yeah, what if I just used my cat as a stand-in actor? And like, we're going to apply makeup to make her look like another cat. So, yeah, if it works out. Your cat is too fat to be used as a reference for Celine. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Once you have the reference, you can tweak it. You can make little tweaks and changes. So, for instance, with the color, because my cat, he could almost have been a ginger cat, but he turned white, and he doesn't really have the same face shape either. But I don't think a lot of people know exactly what sort of face shape she has. They just know she's a ginger cat with one eye. Behind the scenes stuff helps with connecting dots sometimes. Yeah, exactly. I like watching. To me, if there's like a movie, I'm more interested often in watching a behind the scenes of that movie than watching the movie itself. I've noticed that about me, that I'm kind of like, I don't care if there's spoilers. Like I'd rather just watch the making of, is sort of a feeling I get. So anyway, here's a little bit of the coloring. I'm just experimenting around with it. Something like this, trying to get the pattern, and then basically we're gonna have to animate it over this silhouette that I have here. Yeah, Dan would definitely be able to tell, hey, that's not my cat. That's a different orange cat with one eye. But then that'll be like the little trivia. The animator actually used his own cat. Yeah, all right. Well, let's continue the podcast. Thanks for chatting, Dante. And yeah, I'm happy to receive any more comments or ideas or observations. Keep them coming.
It's good to have a good, cuss word. I got a big vocabulary, but sometimes I just want to say, you want me to censor myself? You'll cut my money off? Elon Musk said on national TV, it was okay when he said it. He said, go F yourself. I mean, sometimes it's kind of an F word. When we learned they killed 35 million of us with shots, I want to say F you, but I get it. How about I'm going to beat you? I'm going to get you.
Okay,
We're going to stop you.
Okay, man. That's cool. So yeah, he's not really on that many radio stations, but I mean, he has been swearing like crazy lately.
Yeah,
it has really ramped up, and it's not a problem with the delay. I don't believe that for a second. I think one of the real big influences is that he's not always taking calls.
Yeah,
sometimes we're taking calls from Twitter,
right?
And people on Twitter don't have they don't play by the same games,
right? They're not
rules.
Terrestrial radio.
Swear a lot.
Yeah,
and he would just like let fake Elon Musk swear all he wanted. That kind of broke open a dam of like everybody. It's a free for all. Let's just fucking cuss all we want.
Yeah,
and I mean, whatever stations there are, I can imagine they don't appreciate it.
Sure. I mean, I would say this: if you're still running, Alex, chances are you were running the Sandy Hook shit. So go fuck yourself. If you think that swearing is worse than that.
True. Also, there's something really funny about, like, sometimes you need to swear. Like, F you.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
He's saying that sometimes you get to a point where you need to swear and then censoring himself, which is... There's an irony there that is a little bit of an act.
Yeah, it's annoying.
So Alex has a big guest on the show. He has been teasing all episode that he's got a big guest.
Okay.
And he's very excited to have this person on.
Okay.
It's someone named Billy Carson. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Never heard of him.
But here's Alex giving a little intro.
Okay.
All right, I've known about this guy for years, and I meant to get him on, but I've seen him recently on Joe Rogan and many other big podcasts, knocking it out of the park. He's Billy Carson, and I don't normally read the full bio of a guest, but we should read his. Very interesting fellow, literally a rocket scientist. Billy Carson is the founder and CEO of Forbidden Knowledge, Inc., best-selling author of the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, Woke Doesn't Mean Broke, and the Epic of Humanity.
So, yeah, I don't know if this guy's a rocket scientist, but you might have missed that in his resume. He wrote a book called The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets.
Yeah, I did not miss that.
You didn't?
Nope.
I
saw that one.
I was shocked that Alex included that in the resume that he read off. That is a book that this dude wrote in 2019 discussing the 36,000-year-old emerald tablets written by Thoth, the priest king of Atlantis.
So that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was wondering who wrote them. That was my first question. Thoth.
Yeah. The priest king of Atlantis.
Man. That's terrible.
It is.
That is really terrible.
This guy was just on Rogan, and he said some stuff that Alex liked, and so that's why he's on. But yeah, he wrote a book about Thoth's tablets.
Okay, so we introduced a guy as a rocket scientist, but his second book is about 36,000-year-old emerald tablets.
That's the first one that Alex listed. The second
was the
one
first
was
one?
Woke Isn't Broke.
I thought
That's like a way to
how about that?
Making money kind of book. The other one, he has some other books that are just basically like decoding the Matrix.
Okay,
kind of.
so he's got 36,000-year-old emerald tablets. He's also got like, hey, DEI, it's bad for you, but you'll make money if you're a racist. And then he's got like, hey, watch out for bears. Like that's it. Like that's who this guy is.
I guess so.
Okay.
So he's got some interesting things he's bringing to the table. And I'll just let this play.
Let's see.
If you look into the Epic of Gilgamesh, for example, you'll discover that in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Enlil, one of these Anunnaki god from the Sumerian text, he says the human beings are becoming too populous. There's just too many of them. They're making too much noise and clamoring around and hard to control. Kill them off. Cull them. Dry out their crops so they will starve to death. Poison them.
So that's why every ancient culture starts human sacrifice and all this. And as you said, this goes back to the Sumerians, 4,000 years. So this stuff that gets picked up by Plato 2,300 years ago, they didn't invent this. They say it came from aliens.
Right, exactly. All indigenous cultures around the entire planet have the same verbal handed down history, and some have already written it into text stone and cave drawings. They're saying that people from the stars came to Earth, turned mud into a kingdom, and in some way engaged mankind, like in the Book of Enoch. The first thing they do in the Book of Enoch, Azazel comes down from the heavens to earth, and he teaches human beings how to smoke iron, how to make a steel blade that can cut a man's head off, how to make a breastplate, and how to make a shield, and how to go to war. So he taught death instantaneously. So we're talking about in some level, in some way, we got engaged by an advanced race of people. And when an advanced race of people engage a less advanced race of people, the less advanced race will deify them. These people masqueraded as gods, even though they were not.
And so you're talking about fallen angels that know we can grow into an advanced civilization. They come to sabotage us by giving us an evil twist on technology.
Exactly.
Sure, makes sense. Yep. I think so. There's this, like on a recent episode, we had the Flat Earther event.
Sure.
And Alex is more than able to be critical when he needs to. But in this kind of a situation, it's because it's compatible with what he sells.
Yeah.
This is within the business model, whereas Flat Earth stuff is not. And he's able to engage with that. Stone buildings burned to the fucking ground, Eddie. He's not going to be saying that to Billy Carson, because this is all just like demon shit.
Yep.
And the demon shit works for him. Okay, you think they're ancient aliens? Great, whatever.
It's the same difference.
Yeah.
Hazel's an alien, a demon, whatever.
Right. Enlil, Enki.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that earlier in the show I was like, I identify as a populist Christian, very, very important to the Christian faith to me, and then to talk about this as a complete, like, anything in the Bible is bullshit. You can make it up any way you want.
Well, I mean, that's all demons, right? I mean, you can fill in a lot of gaps with that.
Magic helps a lot whenever you're filling in gaps.
It does.
Yeah.
So you know Gilgamesh?
I have heard of Gilgamesh.
Did you know that he was half Anunnaki?
I did not know that.
Well, get ready to learn.
All right.
Well, Gilgamesh, for example, was a giant. He was half human and half Anunnaki, so he was what they call a demigod in ancient times. A giant man. You can see him always holding a lion in his arms. With one arm, he's holding up a lion. He goes on this hero's journey.
Good night, Dante.
To make a long story short.
So a lion was like a house cat. He was so big.
Yeah, exactly. Lion
Really?
like a house cat. He had a guy that went along with him, and that guy was actually a manufactured man. In other words, like a cyborg. They said that they fashioned this guy for him. He didn't come out of a womb, and he goes on this journey. Enkidu goes on a journey with him. They end up killing this technological device in the woods, and they end up meeting up with Utnapishtim, or also his name is Ziusudra, right? That's also known as Noah from the biblical text. And he's seeking immortality, and Noah tells him where to go get this special plant that can allow him to live for many thousands of years. He ends up losing the plant as a snake ate it. However, he discovers the whole Noah story is inside of this text. And in that text, for example, Noah's given some instructions on how to build an ark, but not a giant boat. He's given the instructions on how to build a circular boat or a circular craft of some type. And he's not told to get all the animals. He's told to get the animals of his local livestock, local flora and fauna. But the thing that's important
A more
about this
practical
is the
idea.
destruction that was coming. It's known in this text that it was a planned destruction to eradicate mankind and to start over because.
And by the way, that's what the whole movie Prometheus is about. They admit that it's none of the elites are atheists. They actually believe about this whole plan.
Yes, they know all about it.
They know all about it. I saw
They
Prometheus.
know all about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit Camelot-y, a little Project Camelot-y.
Sure. It's not bad.
But it's not really that interesting either.
It doesn't have the big swing.
No, I mean, it is a big swing in some way, but it's just I don't know what it is, but it's just like I've heard Ancient Alien stuff before.
It's, the guy's here. He's a guy, then he's a demigod, and then it's
silly that this is on InfoWars.
Yeah.
But that is about it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just Ancient Alien shit that's on InfoWars.
Yeah.
So after a little while of listening to it, I was just like, all right, I'm done.
So these people came in. So, for example, Enlil had a brother named Enki. No, Ea Enki, who actually the earth is named after Enki. Ea for earth, the first part of earth, and Enki means earth in ancient Sumerian. That's where earth is actually named after this Sumerian god named Enki. His brother was Enlil. Now, Enki was nice, loved humans, even married a human, and took a lot of flack for that.
Cool.
And banned from going back to his home
The
planet.
gossip.
And then you have Enlil, who thought humans were just nothing but animals and they could be culled and killed off whenever they felt. And unfortunately, his mindset was the mindset that took over.
And we see those two mind steps today. It's still those two mind
Yes.
steps.
Correct. Still here today. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's not how Earth got its name, but I just kind of don't care.
Yeah.
And just hearing Ancient Alien shit. This episode, like, obviously, you know, he had his gold sponsor on.
Yeah.
I get the vibe that maybe this is brokered programming.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely that.
But he's just talking about Enlil and Enki.
What are we doing?
I don't know. Read some Zechariah Sitchin.
I mean, yeah, this is like somebody got snow crash when they were young and then just didn't change.
I think that there's incoherence on Alex's part in terms of messaging, and including some of this stuff while yelling about how I don't talk about alien shit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit annoying.
Yeah. I mean, what I don't understand. It's so hard. And I imagine it's easy for them now because they've been doing it for so long. And you'd think that I would have gotten better at it by now at least. But I mean, the whiplash of like nuclear war is coming, etc. To then like, hey man, Enki and Enlil were on some crazy dope. I'm going to teach you kids about the past.
These aliens or demons or something, I
Yeah.
guess, that
Yeah.
came around and talked to all of our ancestors and taught them how to make
Right.
swords and shit like
Right.
that.
And here's the
These
real
folks
Noah
came
story.
along. One of them liked humans, one didn't.
Oh,
and
my
that
God.
dichotomy still exists to this day in
You
the
gotta go.
globalists and the Rockefellers and
Sir, two things. One, semiotics exists. Go read about it. Don't Google it. It doesn't work anymore. Two, just go.
I found this. I just found it disheartening. I guess.
Yeah.
You know, we're just doing Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, it's
and it's
not
not
that
as. It's when a subject like this comes up, I want it to be. I think maybe Eddie Bravo ruined it.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be that. I
Yeah.
want it to be like there's a back and forth to it. There's instead of like Alex just signing off on all the Eric Von Daniken Ancient Aliens nonsense.
Yeah.
It's
Stop
just a bummer.
Just say, yeah. I mean, you don't need the money because you can't use it.
Maybe he does.
Well,
And that's why his dad's moving inventory over to the.
I mean, again, that shouldn't. You should not be. If that is said out loud, there should be. How about this? Okay, if there were any sort of god or demons or anything like that, it would be an affront to said god to be that obvious about a crime you're trying to get away with.
Yeah, the and quite honestly, I you know this episode, there's not a whole lot going on, and a
No.
lot of it is a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
But if only for that moment where Alex is talking about coordinating with his dad,
I mean, what?
that cannot be ignored.
It can't.
That's
it just can't.
outrageous.
That's a crime. I don't know what else to do.
definitely feels like.
I just don't know what else to say.
So anyway, we'll be back with another episode. Check in, see how the shipments are going between his dad and his unrelated
Completely
businesses.
separate business.
But until then, we have a website.
Indeed, we do. It's knowledgefight.com.
Yep, we are also not on social media.
We are not.
We'll be back, but until then, I'm Neo, I'm Leo, I'm DZX Clark. I am the mysterious professor.
Woo, yeah, woo, yeah, woo.
And now here comes the sex robots.
Andy in Kansas, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hello, Alex. I'm a first-time caller. I'm a huge fan. I love your work.
I love you.
All right. All right. We should throw on another episode, I guess. That was 9:37. 9:38. Did that just come out? I'm so confused. I thought 9:37 was the latest one. Came out 3 days ago. So yeah, it just came out 15 minutes ago. This is a brand new app. Here we go. 9:38.
Red alert, 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 red alert. Knowledge fight. Dan and Jordan, I am sweating. KnowledgeFight.com. It's time to pray.
I have great respect for Knowledge Fight.
Knowledge Fight. I'm sick of them posing as if they're the good guys, saying we are the bad guys. Knowledge Fight.
Dan and Jordan. Knowledge Fight.
Red alert, red alert, red alert. I need money. Andy in Kansas. Andy, stop it. Andy in Kansas. Andy, it's time to pray. Andy in Kansas, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hello, Alex. I'm a first-time caller. I'm a huge fan. I love your work.
Knowledge Fight.
KnowledgeFight.com. I love you.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Knowledge Fight. I'm Dan.
I'm Jordan.
We're a couple dudes like to sit around, worship at the altar of Selene, and talk a little bit about Alex Jones.
Oh, indeed we are, Dan.
Jordan.
I have a quick question for you.
What's up?
What's your bright spot today, buddy?
My bright spot today, I feel at risk of sounding like a broken record a tiny bit because I did mention this on a previous episode, but I have been playing a bit of Diablo.
Oh, okay.
But that is not my bright spot. This
Okay.
is merely the background or the context for my bright spot.
Sure.
I have an interest in trophies in games.
All right.
I very much enjoy the feeling of, like, when I'm playing something, sometimes I like to complete things.
Sure.
But there's a conflict that I have, and that is that one of the trophies in Diablo is you have to kill 5 other players.
Yes.
And I do not like that. I don't like player versus player stuff. I don't like playing with people online, and it is fucking annoying, and it's a sort of a hurdle that I can never really cross with a lot of these games.
Yes.
Is when they have trophies that require you to
interact with other human beings through a medium that you hate. Yes.
I was gonna say kill other people.
Right.
But yeah, what you're saying is probably more accurate.
Sure.
But my bright spot is that you took the time out of your day to create characters for me to kill in Diablo in order to get that that trophy. So thank you very much.
I
appreciate that's good. That's a good friend right there.
I mean, hey, let's not forget. I had to spend I don't know how much money to get that internet thing to work.
What?
I think it's like $10 or something.
Oh no!
To get the yeah.
I didn't even realize.
I'm just fucking with you.
Oh shit!
No. Yeah, of course. It was great.
It was very nice
fantastic.
of you. And now I have that trophy. So
what was my? Oh, the last one you killed.
It was something about cat turd.
Not cat turd
Yeah.
was the name of the. I had a little fun.
Made me suspect that maybe it was cat turd.
If only.
But yeah, that was very nice. So what's your bright spot?
My bright spot is also a gift that I gave you. But today, it's there's a spot opened up near my place. My wife exercises early now because it's the summer. And this is a donut shop that sells out of the donuts. It's one of those places that's good at stuff to the point where people are like, you can't even have it anymore.
They're not big enough that they can make an unlimited supply.
Right.
But they're so good that people will buy them out.
You can't, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a great, like in the world that we inhabit, where it feels like all of that stuff is either like it bursts into flame and then disappears, or bursts into flame and then turns into everything terrible. But there's this one brief shining moment where it's too good and it's not good enough to go too far.
Nice.
You know? And it's just perfect.
Well, I like that we're talking about this because here there's an interesting dynamic of you bringing this up.
Have I mentioned that they're donuts yet?
You think so? I think you did. I feel like you did.
I don't know. We talked about it before the show, but
I can't tell. Yeah.
It's entirely possible that I did not even mention.
You might have just said it's a
place.
thing that sells out of stuff.
It's one of those places. Yes.
I might have assumed that you said donut because this is the primary tension. Is you're giving a shout out to this and you're making it a bright spot, but if you name the place,
it's all gone.
Right? You can't say
all over.
Yeah,
it's all over.
You can't say what this place is, because that's going to make them run out of donuts that much quicker than you're not going to be able to get them.
I mean, the craziest part, it's down the street from a Stan's Donuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of thing that happened. Like, it's a pre and post kind of shit, you know? Like, there was a time when Stan's Donuts was that small place, you know, doing the thing. Now here we are. Now here they are.
Stan's going down.
None of you can know. None of you can know about any of this.
So the plug is for Stan's Donuts.
Stan's Donuts. Go there, you losers.
So, Jordan, today we have an episode to go over. Yes. We're going to be talking about June 25th and 26th. That is Tuesday and Wednesday of this week.
Okay.
Obviously, at this point in my mind, as we're sitting here recording on Thursday, the debate between Trump and Biden is coming up this evening.
Yes.
And there's very little else that is sort of front of mind.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that yet, so that will have to wait until next week.
Yeah.
But for now, we have the news has happened with Alex's bankruptcy. There have been developments on that front.
Sure.
So we can see where his mind is at, and then talk about other really upsetting stuff.
Sure.
So that's what we'll do.
Let's do it.
But first, let's say hello to some new wonks.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
So first, the High Priestess of St. Hilary's Church, Larry Nichols' voice. Witches. Thank you so much. You're now Policy Wonk.
I'm a policy wonk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Jonathan Morgan, flight attendant, not eccentric millionaire. Thank you so much. You're now Policy Wonk.
I'm a policy wonk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Gritty sounds like Chewbacca with a 5-pack-a-day roar. Thank you so much. You're now Policy Wonk.
I'm a policy wonk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And congratulations, Sean the Skipper of Sodomite Shit being a master of history. Thank you so much. You're now Policy Wonk.
I'm a policy wonk.
Thank you very much.
And we got a Technocrat in the mix. So thank you so much to Time to Try the Game Crinkle, because Kyle and Leroy need a challenge. Thank you so much. You're now a Technocrat.
I'm a policy wonk.
4 stars. Go home to your mother and tell her you're brilliant.
Someone sodomite sent me a bucket of poop.
Daddy Shark. Bum, 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 bum. Jar Jar Binks has a Caribbean black accent. He's a loser little titty baby. I don't want to hate black people. I renounce Jesus Christ.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much.
So we start here on the 25th, and Alex is a bit exhausted by his own bankruptcy, which I can understand. Everyone is. This has gone on a while.
Yep.
This twisting tale.
I know it's exhausting. It's exhausting for me. This roller coaster battle as the establishment tries to shut down InfoWars. Now they've had the Democrat Party lawyers on CNN last week saying, we just want him off air. We don't want money. Well, the courts are designed, even if you rig a case, you just get money in a civil issue. So I told you they've done multiple filings the last 3 weeks. They tried to have the CRO lock the building without a court order. The judge blocked that. I mean, it's been a roller coaster. And then my phones blow up yesterday after I'm off air saying, oh, what's this headline? AP, Reuters, just Bloomberg, CNN, Alex Jones, InfoWars bankruptcy trustee discloses plan to shut down media platform. There's a bunch of other similar headlines. Bankruptcy court trustee and Alex Jones liquidation case previews wind down of media company. That's a wind down over 2 to 4 months instead of the judge's order signed last Friday, Guerra Gamble, the same one that ran the show trial against me here in Texas, to have sheriffs come yesterday, she said immediately, and lock the doors. That's in the order. So people say, okay, well, what's happening? Well, that's what I told you a few weeks ago. They will immediately come and try to shut things down.
So we've got this news that the trustee has announced this plan for a wind down, and it's, obviously everything is very frustrating, and this keeps going on. But if you take a step back, the best case scenario for Alex really is this: InfoWars is going to be shut down gradually. Mm-hmm. At this point, the two options that are really in front of him are like, you're shut down now or you're shut down in this process.
Right.
And so, there's a little bit of, I guess, some sort of like relief that must come from that. I'm not sure it's enough, and I'm not sure it feels any better, but
okay. So here's what I imagine. All right. Now imagine this. All right. I'm robbing a bank, and then the cops give me a call, and they're like, "Hey, in a good 5 years, we're gonna come get you from that vault." And I'm like, "Okay." So I just hang out and I do a show in the vault and just keep all that money. And then whenever there's like 30 minutes before they're gonna come catch me, I just start handing all of that money to my dad, and then we leave.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting scenario you paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder how those feelings you have about this sort of allegory will match with what Alex's behaviors are.
It's interesting. It's
especially
interesting how very,
even
very
on this
similar.
episode.
Very, very similar they seem to be.
Yeah. So Alex talks about a Wall Street Journal article that he believes he's read. That describes the plan to shut him down. Now, this article, I should tell you, does not exist.
Oh.
The Wall Street Journal, 6 years ago, ran a big, detailed subscription article that I read in detail here on air because it was about me. And it was about you. And
it was about us.
They said in a big prospectus article when News Corp was splitting up its media entertainment division and selling it to Disney, but was keeping its news division, and they explained in the big article for investors that the internet will soon be like Netflix. You'll have thousands of choices, but it'll be owned by a handful of companies, and we're going to successfully censor and demonetize and destroy WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. And when the left wing doesn't stand up, we'll set the precedent to take all the liberals off the air and off the internet. And then when we demonize and remove Alex Jones, the conservatives won't stand up for him because they'll be scared of being shut down. And then once they don't stand up for him, they won't stand up for the next person, and we'll get all of them. And I was horrified by it because it was a very serious article. I've covered it a lot. I forget the exact headline on it, but there was a Gizmodo headline and a couple others that were, "Hold on to your tinfoil hat, Alex Jones. YouTube's about to take you off the air." And then it linked to the Wall Street Journal article, and we had a paid subscription, and I printed out the 30-something page article where it said, "Meeting at NATO
30-something pages?
Big Tech, working with the EU, has developed a plan to stop disinformation and shut down blah, blah, blah." But then it went in to the fact that this would make dinosaur media, legacy media, more successful, and was telling investors, don't worry about all the competition. Don't worry about lagging readers at the Wall Street Journal.
Would it surprise you to learn that none of this is in the Wall Street Journal article that he's talking about?
I mean, the 30 pages thing was a tip-off.
It was not 30 pages. It was like maybe 2.
It was okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't a prospectus being sent out from the New World Order to their minions and investors. All this shit he's saying is made up. The article is about YouTube adding context to videos that are considered news-related. For instance, they were going to put tags on videos produced by state-funded media outlets so viewers would have the proper context to view them in.
Sure.
Alex is briefly mentioned in that article because he did a live stream about how that train crash that happened back in 2018 was an attempted assassination of Republican Congress members.
Right.
YouTube commented that, quote, its algorithm hadn't recognized the search quickly enough as a news-related query, which is why it was allowed to be in the top results if someone was searching for that news story.
Right.
This is the only place where Alex actually even intersects with this fairly short story that has nothing to do with, our plan is to demonize Assange and Alex so we can get them from both sides.
I do believe, though, that makes sense. That's part of the, like, if there is a small article mentioning Alex in the past, over time, it will become an article focused entirely about Alex. That was
And
about
it'll be
30
a
pages
book.
long.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it reveals everything.
It just gets big. It grows. It's like a little baby. If you write a story about Alex, just watch the story grow.
Now, you want to hear something fun? A fun fact?
Yes.
I got a Wall Street Journal account because of this. Not this time, but back when I first heard, because this is Alex has brought this article up before.
Right.
And I was like, if there's a 30-page in-depth thing, I've got to read this, even if it's behind a subscription thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I did end up getting an account just to look into this.
Disappointment.
And it's bullshit. And he's peddling it again.
Now you're just a fan of the editorial board.
Nope. So Alex is he's in checkmate, as he describes to the audience here, because of the bankruptcy stuff.
Sure.
Basically, all he can really do at this point is extend the inevitable, which is InfoWars is going to go down.
Right.
And he's just kind of ping-ponging. He's sort of, that's how he describes it. Going back and forth with courts, wasting everyone's time.
Yeah,
basically.
that sounds right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, again, if I'm in checkmate in one move, but I can do another move and be in checkmate in 3 moves, I'm going to move away, even though I'm going to be cornered and they're going to get me. I'm still staying on air and fighting to the last minute, going down swinging. And that's why we're about to be shut down, and you read it all over the news, and then we're not, and we're about to be shut down, and then we're not. And people say, what is this? This is what it looks like to fight. This is what it looks like to struggle. This is what it looks like to put everything you've got into something. I mean, I sold almost everything I had before I went into bankruptcy for the legal fight to keep this place going, because I understand we've saved tens of millions of lives, myself, the guests, the listeners, spreading the word about the poison shots and about all the medical tyranny and the open border and the drag queen pedophile time and World War III. And every day we stay on air, the show gets bigger, the broadcast gets more influential, and we affect more people. And that's admitted.
That's admitted. This is a really interesting prism to look at Alex's work through. Like, he believes he's saved 10 million lives by this bullshit that he's, he just rambles about on air.
Yeah.
That's pretty, I mean, if you believe that about yourself, then I can understand why you would be able to rationalize wasting everyone's time in the court like this.
Sure. I mean, the irony, of course, is that essentially he took a job working for a disease for a couple of years. Still now to this day.
Yeah.
He works for a disease.
He's one of the last remaining employees.
Yes.
Actually, that's not true.
No.
There's quite a big department working for them.
Yeah, their HR department is,
I know a guy who has experience in HR. Someone's dad.
He's your dad. Yeah.
So look, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Even though Alex is in checkmate, there's a catch-22, and that is that you need to buy products, because if you don't, then that will guarantee that InfoWars goes away. So if you don't buy anything, they're going to be gone. But if you do buy things, they're probably going to be gone. But here's the issue.
Okay.
Who gives a shit?
Right.
You need to bet on InfoWars.
I like this. Now we're talking.
You might not get what you order.
Okay.
But that's a gamble.
Now I'm liking this.
That's a gamble.
This is a pitch.
There's a federal hearing tomorrow, and if the judge doesn't block Guerra Gamble closing the doors here, the Democrat Party judge, we could be closed in the next few days. Now, I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe the judge is going to block this tomorrow. Also, the federal trustee took control of the bank account, so he's in control of it. I think about 90% chance that the judge blocks this tomorrow. That said, it creates a paradox where if you've got your orders in for products that we need you to order to stay on air, plus they're great products, you could, I guess the state judge might be wild enough, we've already seen that, to not care about you, and then you don't get your products, but you'll be all right. The average order is like $50. I understand, that's a bummer, but if you stop betting on us just because you think they're about to bring us down, you'll be the ones that kill us inadvertently instead of them. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So bet on InfoWars, bet on us continuing on.
That is quite a sales pitch. You might not get what you order.
I like that.
But you got to do it or else we're screwed. All right. I'm uninspired.
I mean, I'll say this. If that was Boeing's new slogan, it'd be a lot more honest. Hey, listen, you're probably going to get there.
This is what happens when you don't have a coherent PR department and no one has, like, the message isn't being polished.
Hey, it's a little bit difficult to really kind of get your head around that one.
Unless this is intentional. Because I'm sitting here thinking,
yeah,
fuck, that sounds risky.
It does sound risky.
I don't want to order stuff if I don't know if I'm going to get it.
Oh, but you do like to gamble.
But I wish that there was a way I could support Alex and be certain that I was going to get what I ordered.
Oh,
if
no.
only there was an option like that.
If only there was a 100%
Maybe someone's dad's
certain.
business.
Oh, my God.
Now, that said, I will tell you where your order is completely safe and where you should bet on us. And the safest bet on your future and freedom is drjonesnaturals.com. And so many of the old products that were in InfoWars that were so popular that the CRO just kicked out of the shopping cart, I guess, to look to me like scuttle the company. My dad was coming. Already had a warehouse set up in North Austin years ago. I told him he shouldn't do it. He did it, and thank God he didn't listen to me. He's smarter than me in many ways. And he set it up. So it's got the Rocket Rest, the Cabo Chill, the Top Brain Nootropic, all the Nano Silver products, the toothpaste, the Immune Gargle, the Immune Topical, the fiber greens that are concentrated sproutling seeds that flush out your gut and do amazing things to your body. Concentrate. And the Next Level Foundational Energy and Turbo Force, a very limited, small run. It'll be sold out within just a few days because it's discounted, 40+%. Also, there's colloidal silver, 30 parts per million. Good old Silver Bullet.
Good old Silver Bullet. All these old products that Alex used to sell, his dad's selling now, but it's a totally different company. I feel like we run the risk at a certain point of sounding like we're, hitting the same beat or whatever.
No.
But this is nuts. That this is so transparent and so, like, not a problem.
Yeah, well, okay. Here's how I feel about this, because I've been furious for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this. I'm a fairly angry person.
I get that vibe
deep
sometimes.
Down. Right, you know how when you were playing Galaga as a kid? Or Galaga?
I think it's Galaga.
Galaga, all right. Galaga, whatever. And then you get down to the final ones, okay? And the trick is you need to shoot at where the thing is going to be, right? Not at where it was. Because by the time you aim for where it was, it will be at where it was going to be.
This is the principle of throwing a ball.
Right. So now while I respect everyone's excellent work in the legal system up until this point, great job, 5 stars, I would posit that it's entirely possible later on people will say maybe this whole fake business of Dr. Jones's Naturals should also be paying for things.
Yeah.
Right. But, see, then you will have Dr. Jones involved, who will also be able to hire lawyers, who will be able to hire lawyers who are not Norm Pattis.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then we will go back into a courtroom, my friend.
I do think that what you're describing is, like, Alex is a moving target.
Yeah.
And
shoot for it now. Get it now.
That has a certain amount of advantages to it.
Absolutely.
And one of them is he's clearly just remaking InfoWars Health or InfoWars Life under his dad's banner.
We just start singing songs from Street Rat. Always one step of the... Like, what are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
Everybody, are we dumb or am I dumb? 'Cause I'm a clown.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
So Alex has been lied about by lots of people.
Tons of people.
Some people have even been offered as much as $50,000 to make up lies about him.
I wish.
And, I can't tell you how many people have called me where the media has called them and offered them money to lie about me, and they've refused the money. And it goes up to like $50,000 in the offers. And they just feel like they have a free hand to lie about me and attack me. And they got one employee got paid off of the Southern Poverty Law Center and ran around in here for a year, really committing, I believe it's criminal. People say, well, why don't you go press charges? It takes us off mission.
Yeah,
they had a Southern Poverty Law Center operative in here that hacked into the camera systems and tried to find something bad that we were doing. And, of course, couldn't, but they still published the stuff. And it was like me smoking a cigarette, which I quit for 14 years, but I occasionally smoke a cigarette. And I love tobacco. I love chewing tobacco. I love pipes. I love cigars. I can't smoke one cigar though. It was about a couple of years ago. I was at the shooting range and I smoked a cigar. And then the next day, one of the crew was smoking a cigarette. And I said, "Give me one of those." And that's what you got. Is me standing there outside my office with a glass with ice in it, pouring vodka in it, and with a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. I mean, that's the best you got, really. And everybody knows I do that. I admit it. I'm an idiot. I'm a man. I can't help it. So I'm like my ancestors. Hell knows they did it.
I think one of the bigger issues was, the full bottles of booze during the day, like at 10 a.m. at the office.
Yeah,
there's a bigger picture than what Alex is portraying, and I think he's now at a point where he just kind of has to admit the smoking thing.
Yeah,
because
you're just a smoker.
He was hiding that for a bit, but now with the he's in situations where you can't cover it up. Yeah. Like that, Owen did his live stream of we're going out of business spectacular. Yeah. And on that show, you couldn't hide that Alex was just lighting up cigarettes in the studio. And so, he's just kind of like, okay, we're going to incorporate this in. Whatever.
Why not?
Who cares?
I mean, honestly.
And honestly, I don't care.
Yeah, smoking makes sense. Mm-hmm. High stress. We're like... The idea is that he should be stressed. We're all grateful that he's feeling not good. We shouldn't be. At the very least, he doesn't feel good most of the time.
It's right? Someone in Alex's position, were he really himself.
Yeah.
He believes he's fighting the fucking devil who can possess people to do his bidding, and they could be walking anywhere, and they have their sort of hooks in all kinds of institutions and government bodies and all this stuff. Yeah. He should be on air with his tie undone, a glass of scotch, and a cigarette.
Yeah, smoke him if you got him. The world is ending. Nuclear war is around the corner all the time.
Yeah.
Why not smoke?
It's just that he doesn't believe any of those things. It's all an act.
Yeah. It's hard to be like, well, I don't want to get lung cancer in 40 years, but also nuclear war is 3 months away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Alex has a guest on, and this guy is a bit of a troll online.
Sure.
And he lives in the Russian consulate in Australia.
Great.
Always trying to tell you the truth. Doesn't mean I don't make some mistakes sometimes. But in the main, I've been dead on. Over the target. All right. Our guest, Simeon Boykov, known as the Aussie Cossack, is himself a political prisoner in Australia. Just like Julian Assange, he's living at the consulate.
So this fellow, Simeon Boykov, is a pro-Russia troll who posts bullshit on social media. It's fitting that he would be on InfoWars because, as reported by the BBC, Boykov was responsible for misidentifying the perpetrator of a 2024 Sydney mall attack that left 6 people dead, which led to the harassment being directed towards the misidentified person.
Hey.
This is quite literally the same thing Alex has done to so many people, including Marcel Fontaine. Boykov is hiding in the Russian consulate in Sydney to avoid facing charges that he, quote, allegedly caused a 76-year-old man to fall down a staircase backwards, sustaining a head injury. This was at a pro-Ukraine event. The victim was a Ukraine supporter, and Boykov unfortunately recorded himself pushing the dude down some stairs. Right. So it's a pretty open and shut case.
Right.
That assault happened in December 2022, and after he fled to the consulate to hide, Putin granted him Russian citizenship in September 2023.
Great.
Anyway, the guy's a pro-Putin shill who has a history of exploiting tragedies in ways that cause direct harm to innocent people, so he's a perfect fit for Alex to have on the show. This is ridiculous.
Wow. I think here's the thing about that, all right? Until the internet, you had to really get close to an oligarch to toady up to them, you know? You had to be, right there. Or at least, they had to get your ideas to them. Man, can you imagine, somebody who is a big supporter of, King Louis, all the way across the world, just talking shit enough that Louis is like, you're French now. Amazing.
If you build enough clout.
Yeah, that wasn't possible. Thank God for the internet. Now you can talk your shit to the point where you can get anything you want in this world.
It opens up doors.
It is amazing.
So, obviously, the big news is that Julian Assange was released.
Sure.
And so this is a unqualified victory for people like Alex.
Is it?
Well, they're thrilled about it. They love Julian Assange. But there is a little bit of a downside, and that is that Trump was supposed to do this.
There was that.
This is supposed to be something that, like, this is one of the big things that Alex complains about Trump.
Right.
He got the vaccines. He didn't pardon Assange.
Right.
All of this stuff. And now Assange is being released under Biden, which is a problem.
That is a problem.
Yeah.
That is a fucking problem.
But how do you get around it?
That's a good
Let's
question.
see if these two can come up with a way.
All right.
Broken clocks are right twice a day. Trump did not do the right thing with Assange. He was threatened by the CIA. He admitted that. He did not give him a pardon. But Biden, under overwhelming public support, bipartisan, upward in the 80s, to release Assange, has done the right thing. So we do give credit when it is due. Aussie Cossack.
Well, I agree with you. It's a great thing to celebrate. It gives hope, and it's a breath of fresh air, some good news amongst all the bad news in the world at the moment. But the question is, why would they do this? And I don't think they did it to help Assange. They've done it to help themselves. And I think that Biden just tried to probably disarm Trump, that Trump couldn't use this card before the presidential debate, which is upcoming. And this basically question has been neutralized. That's the best assumption that we can draw upon.
Brilliant. It's defensive. It's a defense move, so Trump can't attack Biden about this.
Right.
Aha!
That is genius.
But it's not, because let's imagine this scenario where Trump was like, hey, you should release Julian Assange.
Yeah.
And then Biden could be like, you didn't.
Yeah.
Because he was president too.
Yeah, there is the you were also president part.
You had every opportunity to do this. Why are you attacking me over something you didn't do?
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense as a defensive move in the way that Boykov is expressing.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't really make sense. It would be nice, though, if, like, that was what the debate turned into, is the, like, here's what I would have done. And it's like, well, why didn't you? Let's fucking do this.
Shit.
All right. So, the military-industrial complex, boom, and then they're both dead, and
Mattis.
we move on, you know?
Mattis wouldn't let me. Do you remember Reince Priebus?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
Everybody, calm it down.
So look, this dude, he pushed someone down a flight of stairs.
He pushed somebody down a flight of stairs.
It's not like a whole, like a interior flight of stairs, like a whole floor.
Right.
It was a smaller staircase, but it was still like a dude went backwards down some stairs and got hurt. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Alex has a different take on what he did.
That sounds right.
You exposed the poison shots. They came and arrested you for your speech and are now trying to put you in prison for it. That's how tyrannical Australia is. They're now passed a regulation to, quote, deprogram men to not be masculine, and have set up a federal bureau. I mean, Australia is beyond Orwellian now, for people that don't know.
Absolutely. This country is not what it used to be. It's not a safe place, especially for journalists. I mean, if you're just a person who wants to tread along in life, pay 40% of your wages in tax and be part of the rat race, it's okay. But as soon as you stick your head above the water, if you're a tall poppy, as they say in Australia, you're in danger. And Assange's return to Australia, maybe that's part of the plea bargaining deal that he's made, that he has to return to Australia. Maybe that's part of the deal, that the Americans wouldn't release him, for example, into the Russians' custody. But I think Assange's full capacity, his potential as the world's #1 journalist, as some people are calling him, I tend to agree with that myself. His potential could be fully realized.
Was there a tournament?
He was living in a country where the government would support him, where the state media would support him. Being in Australia, Assange would still be scrutinised. He would still be at risk, at threat, because we are all at risk or under threat in Australia. There is no freedom of speech in Australia, as you mentioned, Alex.
Yeah, so you should go to Russia. That's where journalists can truly be free. Assange should go to Russia. So he makes a compelling argument.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate anybody who can get the cushy job of wanting to be somewhere where they don't have any of the advantages that they get to have currently, while never actually wanting to go there. That's a good gig.
Especially, apparently, as he describes it, the Russian consulate in Sydney is pretty nice. They got a gym. They got so he's staying there, and it's pretty sweet.
It's better than Russia.
Probably better than where he was living.
Yeah, right?
I don't know.
What a cushy gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you got to do is push somebody down a stairs at a pro-Ukraine event.
You know, okay. Okay. I've been thinking about this. What is personal responsibility? What is personal responsibility? And I think at the end of the day, we should just define it as if somebody shows you a video of this fucking guy pushing an old man down the street that he fucking filmed, right? Then you don't get to stay at the consulate. You have to go with them. Sorry, sir.
What if you say a bunch of stuff that
We like it. I apologize. Listen, we think you're great, but personal responsibility dictates that you must go with these gentlemen, sir.
I'm afraid that's not how it works.
See? There we go.
So look, here's this guy.
Yeah.
The Boykov.
Uh-huh.
He believes that Assange should go to Russia because that's where journalists are free.
Sure.
And that's what he thinks. He thinks that if you go to Australia, you're never going to get a fair shake.
Go for it.
Got to go to Russia.
Yeah.
But also, maybe he should stay in Australia.
Maybe.
And become prime minister.
Interesting.
I predict he's going to take a month off, recharge, and come roaring out of there. I think he's going to come out of there like a bat out of hell.
Look, the Australian people need him, and I think the West needs Assange as a breath of fresh air. There's a very high level of trust towards him. If he goes for it, I think he'll become Prime Minister. He can, of Australia. But at the same time, if he wants to have a rest and if he wants to just retire, Russia is open for people like Assange. Snowden is in Russia. There's plenty of Western journalists in Moscow. In fact, Moscow is crawling with expats.
Believe me, I know the Russians have got the doors wide open. Believe me, I'm going to leave it at that.
Alex, you're always welcome to Russia also. You know that too.
It'd be news-making if I told you.
They've already invited you, I believe.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
Shit. Yeah.
Why wouldn't they?
But they already did, like, in 2015. You already said this.
Yeah.
So it's not anything new. He's somebody that they see some use in.
Yeah, there's no reason that you wouldn't offer him a job if you're a Russian state media company. You'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, go for it.
And he's he's been on enough media places where they flattered him as the ideal of the Western man.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only thing about it is, like, if I was Russia, I'd be like, hey, you do what you want to do. It is exactly like you having a boss because we can finance you and all this stuff. But literally, we're a state actor. We give no fucks what you say about anything. You're not here, right? So just go. You know, like, why not have a Russia Wars website and just call it that? Like, it doesn't matter.
Or maybe InfoWars Moscow.
All right.
What about that?
They've already invited you, I believe.
Well, yeah.
InfoWars Moscow. It's got a nice ring.
I'm not going to make some. I got to go down with a ship. And my family's been here on the Mayflower. Texas Revolution, we led it. I have to go down with a ship. I can't leave. I appreciate, the offer, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, it came directly from the top, and but it just shows Putin's got his eye on things. I mean, he basically, he gave you citizenship. Boom.
Well, look, Putin respects patriots, and patriots, American patriots, Australian patriots, Russian patriots, it's all very similar. A patriot is someone who cares about his country and his people, and that's the main fight.
Well, it's somebody that can't be bought.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Y'all have bad ideas about words and just things in general.
It's fun, though. It's fun to hear.
I guess.
This guy who's hiding in the Russian consulate in Sydney and Alex are talking about how much Putin loves patriots.
Is he just too on? Is Putin too online, or all world leaders just too online now?
Well,
is that a thing?
You wonder if it's actually Putin,
right.
or if it is the projection of Putin that these people who are too online have created.
It has to be something like that.
Yeah.
Or Putin is just like, who's this fucking guy on my Twitter feed who is saying mean things about Ukrainians?
But also, I think that it would be in Putin's worst interests to actually have Alex go to Russia.
Of course.
Because you'd have to kill him eventually.
Yeah, you don't want him there.
No, you want him in exactly the position we're in right here.
He's right there. You keep him. Alex, we will give you all
flatter the shit out of you.
Of course.
And this will be great.
You got rubles for days.
You will never, ever be critical of us in any way.
Nope.
As long as we're super complimentary towards you.
Totally, yeah.
And then we don't have to kill you.
We don't. Just don't come here, because then you'll be like, I don't like this, and then you gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alex and Boykov go their separate ways.
Sure.
And Alex, I guess he's into Seth Rich conspiracies again.
Why not?
Talking about Julian Assange and him saying Seth Rich was the leaker on the DNC who was shot in the back and executed, and all their attempts to shut down discussions of that. I want to air clip 17, Joe Rogan talking about Seth Rich. Just remember what Assange and people of the world, not just Americans, have gone through.
What about what Seth Rich's family has gone through? What are you doing? Does Rogan want you to re-air this stuff? Is he thrilled that you're doing this again? I don't know. I haven't listened to enough Rogan. Maybe he does still stand by this stuff. But, like, this was the kind of thing that was going to get him sued by Seth's parents.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know if this is necessarily in anyone's best interests.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with all of it. Because at this point, right, here's what I'm struggling with. At this point, it's very clear that these people are going to believe bullshit. Mm-hmm. So if you just are like, hey, don't say that because there might be consequences, it's not going to change anything.
Probably not.
And then eventually you're not going to be looking, and they're going to be like, ha-ha, you're not looking. Bah, Seth Rich is bah, like that.
Look how much we're reliving 2016.
That's what I'm saying. I can't do it again.
Seth Rich.
I can't do it again.
Conspiracies. Julian Assange is in the news.
Nope. All of you overthrow the government or don't. I'm out.
So anyway, Alex has a plan to stay in business. Mm-hmm. And obviously we all know what it is, but he doesn't want to talk about it.
Oh, he doesn't.
And there is a path where we will continue on. And I'm not going to get into the strategy on that. But I've told you we're here. People say, well, why are you still here? They've been trying to shut you down for weeks. We're fighting back. We're using every maneuver we can. We're in a war. That's what it looks like when you don't just sit there like a jellyfish and take stuff. That said, we're cornered, but it's okay. We won't give up even if they shut down InfoWars. We'll be stronger than ever in many ways, though I'm loyal to this crew and loyal to this operation, so I'm going down with the ship. But please support our big sponsor that keeps us on air, and any future endeavors I know will be a sponsor. That's my dad's company. They ship the products to you right out of Central Texas. It's got a warehouse in Round Rock, North Austin. drjonesnaturals.com. Amazing.
Couldn't be more clear. Really couldn't be more clear what the game is here.
It's outside of Austin, Dan.
It's in Round Rock.
It's outside of Austin. Mm-hmm. He's never even been there.
No. Totally different city.
Completely different.
Totally different company.
Completely different business.
Totally different generation.
Listen, all I'll say is that it would take a bankruptcy judge not to see the difference between those two.
So I was a bit underwhelmed as a whole by the 25th.
Yeah.
Outside of this weird interview with this Russian guy where Alex is clearly saying, I've had offers.
Right. I mean, what else?
So we're jumping to the 26th, and I was just completely flabbergasted by the beginning of this episode. Mm-hmm. It is 15 minutes long-ish of Alex talking about how he's going to cover something tomorrow.
Okay.
And that is,
Okay.
They are expanding these, and they are gearing them up, and this is the climate. This is the time they're going to use them.
He's talking about FEMA camps.
Sure.
Back at the time, I didn't say it was imminent. I didn't say they were going to use them.
Yes, you did.
I said they're there, and I went over the history of it, and I made 5 films on it. I wrote a book on it. Previous to Obama and his executive orders, we have been all over this like flies on what, or like white on rice. And so I promise you, tomorrow, that we will be covering this in great detail. I mean, I could talk about it all right now.
Do it.
I am a leading expert on this.
Okay.
Because I've discovered it decades ago and have been exposing it.
Go, then. Go.
But
Now,
I realize, Alex, you haven't talked about FEMA camps and their plans for years. I mean, I'm Mr. FEMA camp. Everybody knows that, who's a long-term listener.
Everybody does know that. Mr. FEMA camp.
Mr. FEMA camp.
I think you may have just forgotten some specifics and talking points, and I guess maybe it's hot now. Maybe there's some memes going around.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're doing FEMA. We've heard this on some past episodes that these FEMA camp narratives are coming back.
Sure.
But now it seems acute. And like Alex feels the need to reassert his dominance in the FEMA camp
field. Yeah,
but he can't. So he's going to do it tomorrow. But he's going to talk for 15 minutes about how he's going to do it tomorrow.
Right.
On this show.
Right.
I was just like, there's layers to this.
Well, no, I mean, if you really want to hear about it, you have to go to www.drfemacamps.com.
Right. Absolutely. That's where you can get Alex's dad's FEMA camps.
Exactly. He's Dr. FEMA camp.
Right. Mr. FEMA camp.
Alex is just Mr. FEMA camp.
So we get a Supreme Court decision that came out.
Yeah.
And Alex not very happy about it.
Ooh.
But there's Town Hall. Supreme Court watch. The First Amendment was just dealt a major blow. Not a blow. If it's implemented and allowed to stand, it's a decapitation. I mean, it is crazy town. And I've got the ruling right here. I read it this morning. I felt good until I read the ruling. I was having a nice day. I got nauseous. I mean, pit in my stomach because it's so horrible. It's not just saying First Amendment's gone. It's saying we're going to surveil you and spy on you, and the government itself is going to censor you. Total prior constraint, absolutely illegal, a nightmare situation, and it's just par for the course here. What dirt do they have on the Supreme Court to get them to do this? Or, with the other 6 cases in front of them, are they about to shoot it down another way? They think it's a better way to shoot it down another way. I don't know. This was a good case. We had lawyers on, researched it. I mean, they had a very strong case, cut and dry. And the Supreme Court, well, I'll tell you what they said.
Bam. So the Supreme Court didn't destroy the First Amendment.
Sure.
They ruled in Murphy versus Missouri that it's not a violation of the First Amendment for the government to express their desire for social media platforms to remove content. The government cannot act in ways that are coercive towards these platforms, but there's nothing wrong with them asking to not allow stuff like recruiting ads for terrorist groups or advice that people should drink bleach instead of getting vaccinated.
Sure.
The government can express to these places like, this is not,
excuse me,
this
sir.
is bad content.
Could you please don't kill yourself?
This is dangerous.
Right.
This underlying case was a bad case. Unlike what Alex says, he said it's a good case.
He said it was
a bad case.
Yeah.
And it really only made it to the Supreme Court because the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is increasingly far right these days.
Sure.
And they've made a number of dubious decisions that end up going to the Supreme Court, like this one.
Great.
Which is the strategy.
Yeah.
That is the right-wing strategy. Let's get these balls through the
I find it, so I guess I'm fascinated by it because I don't understand it at all. It's like there's this blog Slate or whatever, and they still do Supreme Court coverage all the time. But like a couple of years ago, after the Roe v. Wade, after all of that stuff, they had this like the Supreme Court is broken whole thing, like outlining all of the ways in which this is just a legally incorrect opinion, and that it was not going to change, and so the Supreme Court itself was functionally broken, right? And then they kept writing articles, which does not make sense to me. Like, why would any opinion count after you've said they're broken? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why would you be like, oh, the Supreme Court is out of pocket on this decision? No, they're broken. They were broken years ago. You told me.
Right.
Don't tell me anymore.
Well, is
they're
it
broken.
the same writer?
It's the same blog.
Yeah,
it's the entire
there's different
place.
Contributors.
Sure,
maybe.
Sure.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to make a publication responsible for like what one person might have said.
Sure,
that could have been an op-ed that the Supreme Court is broken. It's not. It's not like this is news.
Right.
But I don't know.
I understand. But that's the thing about the law, though. That's the fun thing about the law is that it's supposed to be hard.
No,
you know.
No,
so if you break the law, which is there, like it's readable. So like if you're the Supreme Court and you have the law that you could read and you're like, nah, then it's broken.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying that like Slate maybe isn't responsible for every...
No. I respect that. I respect what you're saying. I get you.
Underlying that, maybe what we should do is if you're going to run that article, maybe you should just have like a little asterisk at the beginning of all of the future Supreme Court stories that says...
Broken. Yeah. Supreme Court is broken. Until further notice, Supreme Court is broken.
Yeah, like a wet floor sign.
Totally. Yeah, because that's better than trying to pretend like, oh, no, eventually we'll appoint a different judge and they'll bring a new case whenever these guys are dead.
Yeah, business
what are we
as
talking
usual
about?
kind of.
Get out of here. Come on now.
So Alex is, he's complaining here a bit about how Americans are going to be replaced by migrants, which we know is something he's into.
Now. Yep.
And then he announces that he's going to have Nick Fuentes on the show. And this is strange because Alex has made it very clear that he doesn't agree with how racist Nick is in recent times.
Yeah.
He's been very aware of how much of a bigot, anti-Semite Nick is. And
he's really going for it.
Alex has made some lines between I don't agree with this kind of stuff that Nick says.
Sure.
So Alex has to rationalize having him on.
Right.
And again, Biden says he's signing an executive order just to legalize the illegal aliens. And a week ago, it was just, people that are married to a citizen. Now this week, it's going to be a path for everybody to be citizens. The globalists have done the math. They can bring in a giant third world population that doesn't know what freedom is, and they can checkmate this country and the voters of this nation. I am just absolutely amazed because, I knew this was all coming. But we're now living in this. They've got camps set up for us. They've got new viruses they say are coming out. They want to forcibly inject us with stuff that kills us. If they shoot you with a machine gun, you'd fight back, right? But if they come with a doctor and a shot, it kills you 6 months later, or kills you 2 years later, it's like, okay. No. This is literally a ruling class that has decided to kill Americans and replace us with a bunch of third world slaves. But I feel sorry for and I want to help. But at the end of the day, they're now a weaponized group who had their country shut down for 3+ years in lockdowns, who are organized in UN camps with replacement migration, and then that are assaulting the United States. So when Nick Fuentes comes on, he's a smart guy and has a big following, and I disagree with some of the things he says, agree with a lot of what he says. I'm going to just ask him questions like, hey, what do we do about a civil war? What do we do about the camps? What do we do about the forced injections? What do we do about war with Russia?
Child?
Because we just all day have, culture war. And
what a fucking asshole. And a fucking moron. I'm going to just bring this racist kid on and I'm going to ask him, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do, racist child? What the fuck are you supposed to think as an InfoWars listener? Like, oh my God, this is the kind of essential information of freedom that evil global powers are trying to stop with all their might. They can't stand the truth that he's sticking out. What the fuck is the truth? We're gonna get this little fucking Nazi kid and I'm gonna ask him what to do about all the bullshit I'm making up. Jesus fuck. It's fucking crazy.
And I get it. Israel's corrupt. Israel's got problems. The Israel lobby is going after free speech in America. I'm critical of it. But I don't then support the Muslims and the Palestinians either. But to me, it's all other people seem to talk about is Israel all day. Well, what are we going to do about the plan for a civil war?
Look, I got to talk to Nick Fuentes because he's smart and popular, but I don't want to express his feelings about Jewish people. I just really don't want that. If he can play the game, then we can pretend all this other stuff isn't there. But I can't. That's the sense that I get. I feel like when there's somebody who is like a big old bigot, and part of the reason, part of what underlies their arguments is these inherent bigotries that they have, right? You can't say, I disagree with some things and agree with others when you agree with the conclusions that are built on top of the bigotries.
Right.
You really can't do that. But that's what that's the trick that he's trying to pull.
Yeah, I mean, it is... It's a weird feeling to be like, listen, I think what will be best for you emotionally is if you just admit you're a Nazi to yourself and say it's okay for me to hate. Right?
Well, see, Alex is coming at it from the other perspective, which is what would be best for you, make more money.
Sure.
Is if you just cool down a little bit of the words that you say.
Sure.
And then we can pass you off as normal.
Right.
We can pass you off as not this Nazi guy.
Right. But you're broke and you're a Nazi too.
Right. But Nick's broke too.
Oh, man.
I don't know if he's broke.
We're a pair.
He just tried to do his America First political action conference in Detroit, and he ended up getting canceled because the venue found out, it's a Nazi rally.
Yeah, it's a Nazi rally,
and so
man.
they ended up having to give a speech on the street. They got thrown out of the place where their after party was supposed to be.
Sure.
So I think that Nick is in a place where he might be like, maybe I do got to play
Maybe you
got to
play some ball.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, that's always fun. It's always fun whenever there's the young person who's like, I'm not going to do it like they did in the past, and then they do it for a while, and they're like, there's a reason they did it like they did it in the past, and then they just do it. Like Tyler, the Creator.
We might be getting closer to that inflection point of Nick softening.
Yep.
And it's interesting.
Nick's going to be Tucker Carlson in 2 months.
I was pretty sure, and I mean, we still have to see how things shake out in all this.
Sure.
But I was pretty sure that Nick would be the one who is very uncompromising and he had much more principle, and Alex was the one who was going to lose out in the end.
Sure.
But when I listened to this interview, I really felt like Nick was being playing Alex's game.
Yeah, well,
he'd learned the lesson of I got to play ball.
This is what comes from us being completely childless people. Young people are very, very certain, very certain of how things are always going to be, and principles are so and then they change in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
that's just what they are.
So, Alex gets to talking about the business.
Yep.
And I had no other way to describe this clip than you have to be an idiot not to see through what he's doing.
Okay.
Now, our sponsor, drjonesnaturals.com, is not InfoWars. It's not free speech. It's owned by my dad. He's got his own warehouse, great products. Most of them used to get at InfoWars are now available there. Turbo Force, 10-hour clean energy, next level foundational energy, all the nano silver products, the toothpaste and the tooth whitening and the nano silver toothpaste and the immune gargle and all of it, and 50% off on a lot of these products. And we need your support. He's a great sponsor. drjonesnaturals.com. drjonesnaturals.com. Go there today. And that is the most obvious good place to support free speech and what we're doing. But if you won't stand with us when we'll take on the enemy head on, you're not standing up for yourself. I am in your hands. You are in my hands. Rocket Rest, incredible natural sleep aid. Works great. Deep, clean sleep, so good for your immune system.
So great.
So good for your whole body. People don't think about how good deep sleep is for your immune system. Rocket Rest is an incredibly strong, high quality, organic, natural compounds God gave us sleep aid. Top Brain is an amazing nootropic brain booster. If you love Brain Force Plus, Brain Force Ultra, you'll love it. Top Brain, drjonesnaturals.com, and so many other products that are available. So please peruse the site. Please check it all out. And please support us. And I thank you for your past support. And I salute you. And you're the reason we're still here. I'm not giving up. Thank you for not giving up. And if we're going to go down, we're going to go down swinging. But drjonesnaturals.com.
Beautiful.
If the InfoWars mothership gets blown up and it's sinking right now, we may pump it, the water out and get her back up and survive the ship. But I don't know. I'd say it's 50-50 right now that we'll be shut down in a month or so. But who knows what new stuff's going to happen? And God only knows. But drjonesnaturals.com is the place to take action if you want to historically stand with InfoWars during this incredible period. drjonesnaturals.
It just couldn't be more obvious what is going on. He's making this so visible.
Yeah. I like it. See, here's the problem for me. I've gone through to the other side. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him to win this one. And I'll tell you why, right? Because I've been saying stuff like, this legal system, it's no good, right? And people are like, nominally like, but there's things, and then there's things, and then they do the thing, right? But if Alex gets away with this, nobody can argue with me ever again. All of you have to be quiet
I
forever.
guess you have a vested interest in him. I thought you were going to say that it's a catch me if you can kind of like.
No. I want him
pulling for the.
I'm excited.
Scoundrel.
I'm excited because people have argued with me for so long about stuff. And if Alex wins, everyone has to be quiet around me. It's quiet.
If Alex can pull off the Dr. Jones Naturals switcheroo,
then everyone has to be quiet. When I walk into a room, everybody has to like avert their eyes for a little while and be like, "I'm sorry, Jordan." That's just what has to happen now.
All right.
Okay.
It's a new policy.
Mark it down.
I'm writing it down right now.
Okay.
So Nick shows up here on the show, but Alex is a bit defensive about the fact that he's on because Alex has made it clear that Nick thinks differently about different groups of people,
right?
Like based on races and religions and that kind of stuff. And so he's really trying to rationalize this booking choice.
I want to cover 35,000-foot view stuff and get Nick's take on that because I see him talk about history and big other world events, and he done his homework. People can say, well, what do you got Nick Fuentes on? This Nazi. I wouldn't call him a Nazi.
I would.
But I'll explain. Where I stand is 100% clear. When the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Democratic Party, the major media literally says you're bad to be white, in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNN, everywhere, and my 6-year-old daughter, now 7, was at a summer camp last year for a sports camp, and during lunch they had on loudspeakers that white people are inherently bad, and she said, am I bad because I'm white? It is healthy for white people to stand up and say, I'm not going to take this anymore, and I'm not going to be guilty. Now, you can go to an extreme then of hating everybody else that isn't white. In my view, most people that aren't white are not out to get us, and they're good people. But a large group are being brainwashed, and whites are a minority, 7% worldwide. So overall, I've been thinking, compared to the ADL's total supremacy, anti-Western, anti-Christian stuff, well, what do you expect you're going to conjure with what you're doing? And so in an Overton window, Nick Fuentes moves it over here away from all whites are bad and we're the devil and we should pay reparations and kill ourselves with, Nick over here saying basically the opposite.
Ooh, okay. So Nick is maybe not, well, he's a Nazi, but he's, what do you expect? And it works to our advantage. This is very strange. This is not a good defense of the booking.
Boo. I mean, it is so much like all of the arguments for so many things are so elaborate because if you just talk about the real truth of it, it doesn't sound good, where it's like, well, I've got all these thoughts about it. Here's on the one hand and on the other, because the truth is just like, I'm a Nazi, if you're just truthful with yourself, it's usually a lot shorter than the explanation you tell yourself.
Yeah, but it is also much less lucrative because people will treat you like a self-avowed, self-declared Nazi once you do that, and that's tougher for business.
Yeah, that's just tough.
Dr. Jones Naturals might pull their support.
It's tough
if you do that.
I mean, I imagine it must feel so stupid and I would imagine
for someone to say something like that.
Well, you would think, but I mean, for the people who believe, for true pro-life people, it must feel so stupid for so long for them to be like, yeah, a 3-month ban is the right amount, because they never meant it,
right?
But because the question is,
or we totally are cool with contraception.
Totally, yeah, absolutely. Oh, divorce is going to be fine forever.
No,
yeah.
No interest in those.
We definitely don't have a book that supersedes your laws,
right?
All of that stuff, but it is like. Because the question that you're talking about is we think the soul comes in at this moment, so you can't be like, oh, well, 3 months is fine. That's just like, for now, I'm going to get away with 3 months.
Right.
Because I think the soul comes in at the moment.
This is where the acceptable line is for people to not immediately discount our arguments.
Right.
And eventually, maybe we can push it over to that side.
Yep.
And Nick is the representative of complete white identity and all this shit.
No exceptions for rape and incest.
Right.
Yeah.
And Alex is like, well, if we can push it closer to that.
Listen, but if we say we can have exceptions now, then we cannot have them later. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We tell them that it's 3 months now, and then 6 months from now, we'll make it 0.
Yeah.
But if you say 0 now, we'll never have it.
That's the tension.
Yeah.
So Alex asks an absurd compound question to kick things off.
Love it.
That culminates with Alex retracting his question and then saying, what would you do if you were president?
But would you
Put on your prediction cap here of what you think they're going to pull. I mean, I want to say the election fraud won't be enough to steal it. The numbers are there. So let's just hypothetically say Trump wins in 131 days. What happens then? And what can we do to make sure he gets in? And then how do we hold his feet to the fire and make sure he doesn't compromise just out of some of his political ignorance? And that's what's going on from my own research. And then what? And then the big question. That's a lot of questions. What would you do if you were President Trump? If Nick J. Fuentes was sworn in January 21st, 2025, what does Nick Fuentes do? Like, let's just start there.
Well, day one, I mean, the first thing you got to do is close the border, because that is, people talk about election fraud, and you could talk about ballots, you could talk about media, but the biggest way that they're stealing elections is they're importing voters. They're importing these people. I imagine a lot of them are voting illicitly.
Of course they are.
And even if they're not, well, of course they are. And even if they're not, they're also being counted in the census, which is how the Electoral College votes are allocated, how the House is allocated.
Right. So Alex has this complex question, and then is just like, what would you do if you're president? Which is a question he's already asked Nick on the show. I've heard him ask that question before.
Yeah.
And Alex knows the answer to that question.
Yep.
This is a test. This is a test question. Because if Nick says, we kick all the Jews out of office, then it's like, okay, you haven't learned your lesson yet.
All right.
But if you say something like this, like close the borders, the illegal people voting is how we end up with changes in Congress seats.
Yep.
You're speaking in the right way. We're getting you there.
Yep.
And I can't hear that as any other thing than a test. Because Alex has asked that fucking question before.
Yeah. I'm definitely... I'm getting season 5 of The Wire vibes right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we doing the part where everybody's taking in the old jobs of the new people? Is that what's happening? Is this the new Bubbles? Are we doing the new Bubbles? What's happening right now?
I don't know, but maybe. I mean, like, Nick was in Detroit bullhorning on the street because he couldn't be booked anywhere to speak.
What are we doing?
How is that not similar to Alex at the beginning of his career?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
I was going to say you got to keep the devil way down in the hole. So Nick complains about DEI.
Oh, those DEIs.
Yeah. But then you can hear him sort of expressing his racism through a bit of code.
Sure.
And I think that I think he's making an effort, maybe.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a difficult thing. I think that it starts with a political transition. We need to get these people out of power. They're reckless. They're irresponsible. For a long time, they made it seem like they were the adults in the room, and it was the populace like you and I that were crazy. And, you and I, we have colorful personalities, but clearly we are much more on the ball and our fingers much more on the pulse than these planners who think that it's a good idea to import limitless number of people to go to war with Russia and China and Iran all at the same time. And, all these endless things that just don't really make sense, but they insist do. So it starts with a political solution of getting the right people in power, getting responsible people in power. And we need to get smart people to start to come up with solutions. I think that's why the DEI stuff has to go, because at the same time that our problems are growing in complexity and growing in number, we're getting people that are less sophisticated, less competent, less in general, do not have the aptitude for it. We're choosing people based on the skin color, based on ideology, rather than competence. So America needs to think in terms of people power. People are the greatest asset. We need to have the right people accelerate through the advanced colleges. We need the right people to join politics. We need the right people at the helm of the White House, Congress.
We need the right people.
I mean, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody who's like, listen, I took a George Wallace school of not saying segregation anymore. Oh, my God.
I learned from 68.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, the right people.
Yeah. But you can tell that Alex is getting what he wants out of this.
Right.
You have got Nick, who is a much more... he sounds more like a normal person than Alex, with Alex's flair for the dramatic, crying,
the whole thing.
yelling, and all this. Nick, if you don't know anything about him and you just saw him talking, you'd be like, there's a studious person
Yeah.
or whatever. So he speaks in code and speaks in all the ways that the right wing is accustomed to when they try to launder a lot of this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very marketable person here.
Yep.
And I think that Alex is picking up on, like, yep, I put out some bait and he didn't take it.
Oh, my God.
Well, I'm really liking this conversation. This is what I wanted to do with Kanye a few years ago when he was in here with Nick. He can go off on whatever group he wants for 10 minutes. We heard it. Now I want to see about the rest of the world and big issues and what we're going to do and the war.
Alex, Kanye did not go off on certain groups for 10 minutes. He said in like 10 seconds, I fucking love Hitler and I hate the fucking Jews. That's what he said. It didn't take him long at all. It wasn't about how long he said it. It was what he said.
Wars and the border and the AI and you know all of this and so
he can go off on any group that he wants, but if he doesn't, we can pretend that he doesn't think those things, and we can pretend that the reason that he believes the political positions that he does believe in aren't in many ways built on his feelings about these groups.
Yep.
We can play hide the ball here.
Yep.
That's. I just can't get away from thinking that's what's going on.
No, I
in this
mean,
interview.
it's exactly what's going on. It's just like, I don't know how long or how long we've been around for this entire, like, that person who's clearly a Nazi said some Nazi shit on TV, but said it in code. And then the people on the TV are like, yeah, but you know what? He probably didn't. And that's it.
Yeah. And Nick is being trained.
Totally.
That you're a young man.
Totally fine.
Calm down, and you can push all your Nazi ideas that you want.
Listen, we all love Nazis here. That's what we're doing. We're America. We love Nazis, but we don't like saying it. Okay? Everybody loves Nazis, but nobody wants you to wear the uniform.
That's what Alex is trying to get through to this young Nazi.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alex and Nick do have a little bit of problem in front of them.
Sure.
And that is that Trump recently said that people who graduate from colleges should get a green card.
Sure.
And
whatever. Fine.
Well, there's a problem.
That can't be okay.
Of course it can.
Of course it can't.
These people are largely motivated by hatred of immigrants.
Of course.
And this is also a position that is really old. This is not a new idea for Trump to have. It's an idea that these folks are very much against.
Yeah.
And so they have a little trouble with that.
Okay.
But I did like 10 minutes yesterday, a whole segment, and I said I get what Nick Fuentes is saying, and I agree with a lot of the Groypers, but I said then there's a whole nother extreme of you know people saying, well, we don't like anybody that isn't white, and I'm just like, that's not how I feel. I like everybody. I judge people off of how they operate and what they do. But then I also went on and I said, yeah, this Trump thing is dangerous. You know, just saying anybody that gets a college degree, well, they can give you, you know, mail-in degrees, and then you're a citizen. But at the same time, Trump's always been for highly skilled people that come here being able to be a citizen because that's what he's done in business. So people that are mad at Trump about it, and I get you're allowed to criticize. I'm not saying that's bad. To me, Trump will at least mitigate and shut the border down 90%. Would you rather have that or just, Biden saying, get here, come here, take over, blah, blah, blah. So I don't believe in the lesser of two evils, but I also don't believe in a suicide pact. And I'm somebody very critical of Trump, so I'm not putting Nick down for being critical of him.
Yeah, you're famously critical of Trump. Also, Alex can't just say I'm not a lesser of two evils person after describing a lesser of two evils scenario.
Yeah, that's literally what he's describing.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. That's why it's just so much more fun being outside, because then you can not be a lesser of two evils guy.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you play the game, then you're immediately on like team sports.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to be like, well, my team's better than the other team. So even though the other team or my team sucks, you know, I still have to be, you know, and it's like, nah, just leave.
Right.
Go.
And the reason that my team is losing is that the other team actually has secretly replaced the coach.
Yeah.
And the coach is a globalist.
Yeah. It can't be like both teams suck.
Nope. Not once you got that Trump card in there.
Yep.
So also Alex is clearly not dealing with the community that he's trying to reach here with Nick.
Right.
They are the people he's describing.
Yes.
So you got to try and defend this this immigration thing, because you can't turn on Trump, obviously,
right.
at this point.
Right.
But you got to just like, we got to somehow make this something we're really against, but I guess it's not Trump's fault, like the COVID vax thing.
Yeah.
So that's what we're aiming at.
Oof.
It's really just about finding where is the sensible immigration policy.
No, I totally agree with you, and it's all been so one-sided. It's healthy to say no more for now, a moratorium. I was simply saying people mad at Trump, this has always been his policy. And if you go to one of his hotels, it's mainly Eastern Europeans, that's who he can get cheap, that quite frankly want it. And I'm not saying Americans are lazy. It's just harder to find them and organize them, though through these trade groups, through these corporate organizations, you're on a cruise ship, it's Eastern Europeans. You're in a fancy hotel, it's Eastern Europeans, because for whatever reason, they'll get the job done, they'll do it. That's the group they found that'll do it. I understand Trump's being honest about where he's made his money, at his casinos, at his hotels. So it's just Trump being honest. So I don't see it as a bad thing against Trump. You can say it's a bad policy. I'm just saying it's not some betrayal, because that's what Trump's always done.
Well, I would say that in 2016, he did say that he would revise the H-1B visa program. So it is a little bit of a shift on the policy, but you are right. Throughout his business career, he did use immigrant labor. You're absolutely right about that. And you're also 100% right that, and this is something that you notice, and this shows that people are getting the information on InfoWars, is that Donald Trump did attempt to recalibrate immigration. And you're 100% on the money that under the Trump administration, the focus shifted from family-based migration and humanitarian-based migration, meaning refugees and asylum seekers, to temporary or permanent work visas.
So there's a couple of interesting things that are going on here in this clip. First, apparently, Trump has made a lot of his money by exploiting Eastern European immigrant labor.
Apparently.
Cool.
Yeah. Turns out they're good slaves.
Strange.
Great.
Alex.
Okay.
Second thing, that dynamic with him and Nick is weird. Because what Alex is saying is like, hey, look, you could disagree with it, but he's not a hypocrite. He's not changing his position. And Nick's immediate response is, actually, it is. But then immediately he gives voice to, you're 100% right. You're right about this. You're right. He does use migrant labor. Blah, 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 blah. There is a refusal to accept completely false reality that Nick is bringing to the table. But then he catches himself and is like, all right, but I'm agreeing with you.
Here are the concessions I'm making just to get through this.
It feels like that.
Yep.
Strange.
I mean, eventually you'd think, listen, I think the kid is an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually you have to learn. And he's touched fire so many times with Alex at this point that it's like, well, frankly, it'll just be an easier conversation if I just go, you're smart, and then say whatever I want.
That may be some of it.
Yeah.
I think another part of it is the harsh reality of, I probably need him now.
Sure. Could be.
Maybe, this is one of the only ways. I could be the heir apparent, honestly.
Could be. It's entirely possible.
He's better at this than Owen.
Owen's not doing shit.
No.
Owen's gone. Once the boat is gone, Owen's adrift on a seaboard or whatever. Yeah.
So what they do agree on, the two of them, is that they want to stop immigration for 10 years. That's
You know what? I'm so glad that they put a date on it, because I was worried they wanted to stop it forever. But since they said they wanted to stop it for 10 years, these are reasonable people.
Right. These are the 3 months.
But these are smart people. So they stop it for 10 years. Now, I imagine that we can all set our watches by that. 10 years, everybody, it'll start back up on this day.
All Alex wanted was a 10-day investigation.
Totally.
Of the 2020 election.
Absolutely.
That's, January 6th wouldn't have happened if
Yeah. And that's the key, because the UN, the left, the universities, the media, they're weaponizing people. That's why I'm for a 10-year moratorium. If you want to get technical and I could get Trump to do what I wanted, I would just say nobody 10 years, and then let's build up America. So if you want to know where I would stand, I'd say 10 years, 0 immigration, basically.
Me too. That's exactly, you asked what would I do on day one. If I were Trump at the convention, I would say, you know what? We have just had too much immigration for too long, and it's not helping anybody. And it's actually interesting. Hispanics are becoming more Republican. It's these third and fourth generation Hispanics who are actually now reacting against the first generation Hispanics that are coming over and taking their jobs. So it's like you said, and I said this on Twitter, it almost isn't even necessarily a race issue. Race is a component, but it doesn't need to be.
Wait. Hold on. This doesn't need to be a race issue. Now, race is a part of it, but it doesn't have to be. We can sell this in a non-racist way. But don't get it twisted. I am racist.
I mean, it wasn't until we started doing the show that I really regretted learning all the words. I loved words. I used to love words, Dan. I loved books. I loved the collected human understanding of things.
You read the encyclopedia as a young man. That's how you gained so much information.
Loved it. And now I realize that they're all empty, meaningless, and have no point other than for the masturbatory purposes of these two idiots.
Yeah. Words exist to funnel money to Dr. Jones Naturals.
Yes, that is exactly what words are for.
Yeah.
I was a fool to think otherwise.
So we know from listening to Alex a whole bunch that there's a preoccupation with they're about to kill Trump.
Sure.
That was happening before the 2016 election.
Sure.
It's going to happen at his inauguration in 2016. It's going to happen the entire time he was in office.
Yep.
It's going to happen in the 2020 election. They're always going to kill him. They're trying to poison his Cokes, his Diet Cokes.
Crazy.
Yeah. But now, there might be something happening.
Well, he's just got regular heart disease. He's an old fucking dude. He's going to die immediately.
No, they're going to kill him.
Okay.
But maybe
they'll
kill Biden instead. Or maybe both. I don't know. This is fun
that
conversation.
Sounds fun. Yeah, I like that. Let's do this.
My concern is that the deep state never gives up, and that they killed JFK for not going along with them in '63 in Dallas. It is a real possibility they could kill Trump, or they could kill Biden and claim a right-winger did it to then use that as the excuse to replace him. They could kill him at the DNC in Chicago or right before. I mean, I don't think it is a possibility. I think it is a very good probability that they are considering doing this. Can you speak to the issue of assassination?
I think it's very likely. I think you're right about that. And the thing is about Trump, you have to realize they have thrown everything short of assassination at him.
Yeah, so they probably are going to assassinate him. But Alex, while he's talking, you could hear him say, like, maybe Biden. He gets more excited about the possibility that someone will kill Biden.
Sure.
Because I think he realizes this is probably the only way that, he's not the candidate.
Yeah.
And so Alex is like, oh, wait, they could do that.
Yeah.
And this works for the story?
Then we'd have a much better TV cycle because there would be somebody who's not these two idiots.
Yeah.
At least anybody.
So Alex gets a little bit excited about that because I think that, honestly, they're going to kill Trump is a little bit the sky is falling. Kind of. I think people are a little...
Why?
We're a little bit... We've heard this too many times.
It doesn't make sense to kill Trump. If you were going to kill Trump, Trump would be dead. There's no more I'm going to kill Trump. He can't beat Trump.
No. Because, as Nick explains, they've done everything but that to him. They've been trying all the other paths.
I really don't think they have. I really do. I kind of think nobody's put that much in his way at all. And if anything, everyone has opened the door as much as possible for him.
And they've repeated some things.
Yeah.
Like there were 2 impeachments.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know if it's just like escalating options.
That's the thing. That's that lesser of two evils thing. You had 2 impeachments. Now you're losers. So all the Democrats are losers. You tried twice and you lost. So you're losers for good. There's no teams. You're all losers. You should feel bad for losing.
This clip is going to be in a Trump ad. Jordan Holmes, noted leftist.
They lost in 2020. You're a bunch of fucking losers. You lose. Just take the L.
No.
Ugh.
So we have one last clip here.
Yeah.
And it's because Alex kind of realizes, like, shit, you were giving a speech on the street in Detroit because the system or whatever, the hotel that you were giving a speech at and you're holding your conference at realized who you were and didn't want to be associated.
Right.
So you got kicked out and you got thrown out of things. Meanwhile, it was happening at the same time that I was in Detroit. And I was on stage and welcome at Turning Point USA, which did not allow you in.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, so let's...
Who's got the street cred these days?
I didn't know you were going to Detroit a week and a half ago, and I was invited to go to that. And I was supposed to get there earlier, but stuff got delayed. But I got there after Trump was there, and I spoke the next day. Then I learned your event got canceled at another facility, and then you were in TPUSA, and they threw you out. I just want to say I like the folks at TPUSA, but they need to get past being scared of the establishment, what they're going to say about us. It shows how far they've come just to invite me. That was them realizing being the outlaw, being the outsider, being the rebel's good. I think they should invite you to speak and say, we don't agree with everything Nick says, but it's free speech. They should invite leftists on. You know, they should invite AOC there. That would make it more interesting. But
sure.
Oh my God.
So there is just something really strange here, but there's a couple things that are obviously implied by this. One, Alex wasn't invited to America First PAC.
Nope.
So that's strange.
Yep.
Or he was, and the condition of speaking at Turning Point was that he couldn't go to Nick Fuentes' thing.
Possible.
So he either wasn't wanted at America First or whatever. Now, he did go to Turning Point, and what Alex is expressing essentially to Nick is like, you say the 3-month thing, like as you put it.
Yep.
You can get on stage at Turning Point.
You get on stage.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
They're not letting you in the door.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the part where it's like, this is why showbiz and politics should never be anywhere near each other, because this is the old showbiz thing. This is the old, like, I've been famous, I've been there, kid, and now I'm going to take you under my wing. This is the new comic who's opening for him on the road, you know, and he's telling him all of this stuff, and he's
Nick
like,
did go along with him and Ali Alexander for the Stop the Steal,
and you can feel that, like, I used to have an edge. I used to be there. I remember the feeling of having an edge.
I used to be thrown out of places.
I used to be cool, and now I realize through you, I am not. But by being with you, I can kind of get some of that juice again.
Yeah.
You know?
And flip side, Nick is kind of realizing
this is the new comic who's opening
that are obviously the 3-month thing.
Yep.
Like as you put it.
Yep.
You can get on stage at Turning Point.
My wing. This is the new comic who's opening for him on the road, you know, and he's telling him all of this stuff, and he's
Nick
like,
did go along with him and Ali Alexander for the Stop the Steal,
and you can feel that, like, I used to have an edge. I used to be there. I remember the feeling of having an edge.
I used to be thrown out of places.
I used to be cool, and now I realize through you, I am not. But by being with you, I can kind of get some of that juice again.
Yeah.
You know?
And flip side, Nick is kind of realizing, I think on some level, when I do my bigoted ass show on the internet from my desk or wherever the fuck he's broadcasting from, and all people like spam slurs in the chat and all this, it feels like there's an outsized power to it.
Right.
But then I try to bring this into the real world, and we get thrown out of our venue. We try to go to a bar for an after party. We get thrown out.
Yeah.
And I end up giving a speech on the street to an underwhelming crowd of people.
Yep.
So I think that maybe he's like, oh, the reality of where the rubber meets the road for me isn't what it is online. And so maybe I don't have the power that I thought I did, and maybe there is something to what Alex is saying.
There's an ultimate lesson that Alex has to teach Nick.
Yeah.
And I hope he does not find out what it is.
Yeah.
But the ultimate lesson is this, all right? On your show, say whatever the fuck you want. No one's watching.
Yeah.
When you're not on your show, you fucking say what they need you to say.
Yeah.
To get whomever needs to come to your stream, who will come to your stream, and then you'll get 5 of them that stick around. But when you're not on your show, you play the game.
And I think that more than other times that Nick has been on with Alex, I feel like he is getting that lesson a little bit more than normal.
Yep.
And so that's, troubling.
Because it's the one that Alex has the most power with, Like, Alex can go on Joe Rogan and they say shit, but they don't go like, hey, you literally believe that you're a psychic fighting God's battle against literal Christian
Because you
devil.
wake up in the middle of the night and know what time it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Like, that's disqualifying.
Yeah.
That's the Supreme Court is broken.
Right,
You know?
right. No, but Alex's power on that front is actually two-pronged.
Yeah.
Because there is the, like, know when the situation is like that Rogan thing, where you can say whatever you need to say to be interesting and get people over to you.
Yeah.
And then the second is when you're in a hostile environment, know that it doesn't matter and get your plugs in.
Right. Right.
Just yell Infowars.com on Piers Morgan's show and, you know.
Listen, Nick, your whole hearts and mind shtick, get it out of here. Just yell your plugs and get back to work.
Maximize what you can get out of situations, and that is your ultimate truth.
Maximize what you can get out of situations as your damn, Dan. That's dark.
Yeah.
That is a dark, true thing.
Well, that's what happens when you listen to a sort of boring interview with Nick Fuentes.
Eventually, you get to the secret heart of the universe.
Yeah. So anyway, we had a guy from Sydney who's living in the Russian consulate, and Nick Fuentes.
Yep.
The stars are out. Still no Stallone.
Amazing.
But,
Amazing.
Here's what we've got.
This is the type of show that you just gotta wind down. You can't just close this shit down. No.
If this was gone tomorrow.
Chaos.
Oh.
Fucking chaos. What's Owen gonna do?
Right. He's going to have to interview Stallone. That's no good.
Oh, God.
So we'll be back. We'll see what happens with that debate.
Indeed we will.
But until then, we have a website.
Indeed we do. It's knowledgefight.com.
Yep, we'll be back. But until then, I'm Neo. I'm Leo. I'm DZX Clark. I am the mysterious professor.
Woo, yeah, woo, yeah, woo.
And now here comes the sex robots.
Andy in Kansas, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
All right, I think we'll call it a night for now. We got pretty far on the animation. I'm going to I'll probably finish this this color layer that I'm doing. Where is it? On the body. Just gonna do a few more frames of that, but I can pick that up later. I'll probably do another couple layers of color after this. I want to get the back of the back paw, and then maybe if we're feeling fancy, we can do like a shadow shading, and maybe also a highlights, maybe two, a highlights and shadows layer. See how that works. It's gonna be kind of fun. I don't know. I'm just sort of doing it as an exercise in animating stuff, just to sort of figure out how to do it, you know? Just having fun with it. So we're making a new Celine GIF that'll be featured in the new episode. And so I'm going to stream this weekend, I hope. And you'll get to see what I'm working on in a little more detail. So that's all for today. Good night and good